audio and then kind of fit it all over
You
top.
need time to fill in.
Yeah. Are you working? You working this morning?
I just got home. Yeah, I've been up. I worked both today and yesterday. I've been up since 3.
I've
Both
been having
days.
some weird nights, like with sleep and stuff. I can't. I'm all over the map, dude. I was up till 4 a.m. last night.
So you were up when I woke up.
Yeah.
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 And then while you
should
were
have
asleep
messaged
and I
each
went to
other.
work.
Well, and it was 4 a.m. for me, so I can't do the math on
Yeah, whatever.
exactly whatever.
Oh, we were just tired, but it was a very quiet event both days, which we knew it was going to be because we've been blessed with like almost perfect weather conditions, and the fact that like COVID and everything kind of had everything a little weird this year, so attendance was like really, really low, like all-time low.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we were okay in that regard, but we still had to be, we still had to be there, so.
Yeah. Are you locking people up at these events? Like, what's happening?
No, I run, so we open up in support of the city. The track club runs the event. The city opens to support the event, especially like after Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Is my microphone too loud?
You sound good to me.
Okay. So after what happened in Boston, we started working with them more. So we do like this big planning initiative.
Of course. Yeah.
And we run through all the scenarios, like what would happen, what we would do. And then what we've done is we activate our office, activates our room for what we call the medical branch. And it's a place for all of the EMS companies to come together and coordinate where we're taking patients. Because one of the issues when you have some sort of, I don't want to say mass fatality, but if you have an event that has a lot of people that get injured, one of the first things that you'll do if you study these events is you'll overwhelm your local ER. You'll just send them all to one hospital, and then they can't care for people. And if you can't care for people, then people
die.
Right. So it's our job to streamline that coordination and make sure that we're dispersing people across the region equally. And then I built all the software that the track club uses to run their race. So if you fall down and roll your ankle and you go to the medical tent and they give you some ice, when they type your name into a system, it's my system they're typing your name
that
into.
is so cool.
So I'm on site too, in addition to the emergency management side, I'm on site like tech support. I'm like monitoring servers, monitoring SQL, making sure everything's working, making sure connections are going. I'm doing that all day, making sure usernames are set, passwords, privileges, making sure people are seeing the right things. And in addition to my daily duties.
It's definitely more than just like you figure you just like, well, I open my phone every day, like I interact with this stuff all the time. You don't really think about what it takes to actually put that into place, to make sure it's actually working. Like even when we play games, even when we play on like Xbox Live.
Yeah, we have just to run my little application. Today we only had about 100 people log in. I've had plenty more. We usually top out about 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.
But to get to that 4,000 capacity, I have 12 servers.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
so
a lot.
Like a survey, like a standardized thing, like a survey, like it is, or are there like larger servers? I know so little about.
It's all
stuff.
virtual. My servers are pretty stock because my application is pretty lightweight. To me, so my extra servers don't serve as like more like in a computer sense. You're thinking like server, like more horsepower. My server is basically set up as more thread processors.
That's actually what I thought. Yeah,
it increases
capacity.
It increases bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. You should. I don't know how much you can really like give away about your job. I think it's like fascinating because I also picture you. Did you ever watch 24? Like Jack Bauer, like back in the day. That's what I. When you say like I went to work, like I picture you in like CTU.
I mean, so like my software, what I do for a living when I build these boards for these people, the people always change, so it changes. I've built like during Super Bowl. I built the intelligence operations dashboard where all the secret squirrel, like terrorist threats and things are being shared. So it is kind of like 24.
Counter-terrorist.
The FBI and everything. And like they're flagging tags and IDs and stuff. So I built that for them. I built a lost and found for the track club. It's like if somebody loses their keys. Like they have, so like it ranges. Basically, I'm basically at the whim of all of our partners. It's like, do you need something? Can Donnie help build that for you for free? Talk to Donnie.
Yeah. Interesting. And then like how quickly you have to like roll that up and like you go from concept to like, wouldn't it be great if we did this to like usually I imagine somebody's coming to you with that idea. Like that would be nice to have now.
The Super Bowl design was 2 years in the making. The story in short, because I don't want to talk I don't think people want to hear about my job.
I think it's neat.
Okay. Well, in short, we went to Houston 2 years before we had our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the police chief put me. So what they have is they have this visiting public safety officials thing that the FBI runs. Basically, when you have a Super Bowl, when you get like your city gets named, your city gets to basically build like an Avengers team. You get to select 14 people to go to another Super Bowl to learn. And the police chief put me on the task force. It was the first time my office had ever been put on one, because typically it's fire, police, bomb dogs. You know, it's real responders. It's first responders. But I've worked for my job for 12 years now, and I've become pretty integral to their operation. Like, everybody knows me, you know, so I'm constantly coming through. And he came through and he was like, we want to see what you see, because we're not paying attention to the stuff that you're paying attention to. So long story short, I went to Houston and I basically just kept a catalog of everything that they were tracking, because what they had was like 27 different committees all tracking their own stuff. They weren't talking to each other. They would come together once a day and they would like brief each other what everybody's doing.
Sure.
What I wanted to do was have all of that stuff being shared at once in real time in the same platform. That way there was no need to have the briefing. Like, everybody would constantly be aware. So like one of the things I noticed in Houston is like the police had one map where they had all their people. Fire had their map where they had all their people. Like the ATF had their map where they had all their people. There was no map that showed where everybody was.
That sounds hard to do. Yeah.
It's not easy.
You need crossplay.
You need crossplay. That's exactly what I did. And they made a marketing video out of me. I'll send it to you one day. It's on YouTube.
No way. That's cool.
Because we were one of the first people. We actually were the first people for the Super Bowl that ran our own system and didn't use the FBI system, because we showed them. I can brag. I don't think anybody's going to report me to the FBI. My system's better than their system.
Wow.
And we showed them that we could have. I had people from Washington, D.C. down to Miami, everybody in the Super Bowl. They were all on the same platform. They're all sharing. We had permissions, so only the right people got to see the right stuff. The wrong people couldn't see it. You know, like we had it all built in, and it was all flowing together. And what I do is I'm very open. All of my boards I put on GitHub and Google Drive, so all of the administrators across the country, they can come download my work for free. A lot of people will like keep it, you know, and like they'll use that for job security. I give it away. I'd rather take like the credit. It's like this is my design. So all of my data I openly share as well. So I synchronized everything across ArcGIS and WebEOC. So all of our platforms. So like if a GIS person put something on a map, it showed up in my system, and if a dispatcher in my system put something on it showed up in their system.
That is amazing.
And it worked. We did that for 12 straight days around the clock.
There's nothing you can't do. So like this whole like PSVG network you put together is kind of like, let's play time. Oh, I did a website, like whatever. Like that's
the website that we have is like just me goofing off.
So is that why like it can be like extra frustrating when something like Melon doesn't work?
Yeah.
Like I built this thing that's better for the FBI.
So here's the thing: is I the thing that Devin hates about me. So all of my, by the way, I'm no genius. My code is all front end stuff. The only I'm not a very good coder. Like I don't know.
I heard
code.
You talk about that. Yeah,
I don't know code. I don't know it off the top of my head. I can manipulate code. What makes me good at my job is I'm very good at working with public safety folks and anticipating what they're asking for. And I think that's the thing that you often lose with like a programmer. They want to build you something to show off how good of a programmer they are. The fire chief tells me what he needs, and I build him exactly what he needs. And my stuff is real easy to use. It's very simple. We get to the point now, we don't even train. Like people just know it. It's just easy. Like we'll take a brand new user, we'll get them in, we'll show them like 5 minutes. We're like, just do this. And they're like, I'm good. Because, you know, like I believe in some very basic principles of designing. So like all of my buttons are in the same place. They're all the same color. Like everything is uniform. Everything is minimal. You know, like
which actually probably makes your life easier. Like you don't have to reinvent it every time. Like it's a functionality thing, but also makes your life easier. You have to figure out where do I put this and what buttons do I need.
I think the biggest thing that makes me successful is that I anticipate who my users are. I have a very specific set of users, about 1,000 people, and most of them are not tech literate, and they need a
specific set of skills.
They need it to be fast. They need it to work. They need to be dependable. That's what they need. They don't need it to be amazing and bleeding edge and Facebook, you know. So
Do you? I was pulling from Quest for Pixels. I don't know if that's Joel or Tony in the chat, but Quest for Pixels was calling you basically Liam Neeson from Taken. You got a very specific set of skills.
I need to open the chat.
You will be finding them. Jace is in here. A lot of people are in here in the chat here on Freedom Day.
There is a lot of people there.
We got a bunch of people, active people in the chat, which is very cool. We don't do anything for Freedom Day. Like if this is just another.
What did you just have? You just had Canada Day?
Canada, which I think is hard to say. Like I have a hard time
Canada
saying
Day.
Canada Day.
That sounds like a band name.
Canada Day. Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Canadian Day.
There's a lot of sort of like things that we do that are sort of
what
like
is Canada Day?
It's when we became a country.
But like, was there like a war or something that made that
we
happen?
didn't know. Not every country like
you just
happens
became one day.
We wrote it on a piece of paper.
It was a Tuesday. We were like, this is it.
It might have been a Tuesday
today.
Actually. Canadian Day. Like Les Canadian Day. What did we call it last week? Canadian Day. Yeah.
Nice.
We flipped a coin and it was like cool. Who was that? You have to identify.
Shiv.
It was Tony. It's Tony.
Shiv is right. I see Shiv's chat. He says, sounds like Donnie knows how to understand people's problems. That's really my.
Oh yeah.
That's really my job. Because like when you work with public safety folks, they hate technology and they like don't want to like learn new stuff.
They just want it to work. Like
that's it.
That's
they
like most
just
people.
want it to work.
That's like most people, I think. Yeah, I think definitely. Well, like, do you get a chance to like really celebrate this, or like I don't know, because like one day it's all like gonna be over, not life, but like your career.
Oh,
like, it's all gonna be done.
My career is probably rushing to a like. I think with every year as tech gets better and better, like my job becomes less and less important because they're just
that's super interesting.
There are other apps and stuff that are just better than what I can do, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But after the Super Bowl, I got a national award they gave me. I wasn't there to receive it, but I got some. Now, funny story. I don't know if I've told this. You've probably heard this. I may have told it on DLC. I've definitely told it to people before. My boss, we're a pretty ragtag group of people in my agency. Like we're all different kinds of people, different ages and everything, and we really give each other a hard time. Like we're really, like funny that way. My boss, he always does these peer reviews at the end of the year, like these formalities. You sit down, and I hate them. I hate them every year. I'm just like, this is so dumb. So I got the award for being like the best administrator in the country that year. So at my peer review, I sit down. We have this HR lady. He sits down and he goes, "All right, Donnie. So we're going to talk about what you can do better." I reached down to my backpack and I just pulled it out and I set it on the desk.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And I said, we can talk about it, but I have this crystal here that says I was the best.
Yes, you did. That is what I'm talking about.
He's like,
man.
You're such an asshole.
What else are you supposed to do? That's why I brought it up.
Look,
that's actually
it
why
said
I
was the best. They said I was the best.
That's exactly why I brought it up, because I feel like that's just doesn't matter like what industry you're in, what you do for a living, like whatever, you could get all like the accolades, and then you go back into like an HR setting and they're like, let's work on things a little bit better. Let's like, shut up, man. I'm the best. Like, give me a raise, bitch, says Jason.
It was great because my designs, like I said, I give it all away. So my designs are deployed in Miami. Like my stuff is spreading. I think Las Vegas has some of my stuff. Miami they just had their Super Bowl this year. They used like half of my stuff. Like their system was half of my system. It's really cool to see that. Like
it's
other
good to
people
celebrate.
use
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Well, because like work can be such a grind that like I worry about that for a lot of people. Like we all have these moments where like maybe I actually had a good day or month or year even, and then you go like, I guess I'll just keep trying harder. I guess I'll like stop, man. That's not motivating at all. It's really just kind of
you get burned out.
Crushing.
Yeah, you get burned out. You just lose creative energy.
Well, and if like, because you kind of realize, you reach a peak of some sort, you actually are awarded something, and like that's not good enough. It's like that seems to be the heart of some pretty massive mental and emotional problems. I think of like not being enough, not being good enough. Goodness gracious.
It was so funny. It was very rewarding because I know a lot of the people around the country that do it. And there's this one tech firm in Texas that I've always looked up to because they basically have 20 of me that work on a system. And I've always kind of like mirrored my system after theirs as much as I can as like one person. And the company came through during the Super Bowl and they were going through it and they were astonished at how many people we had using it. Because we had GBI, FBI, GMA, FEMA. We had everybody.
GBI?
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the state version of FBI.
Gotcha.
They don't do a whole lot of law enforcement folks. They do a lot with medical and EMS and stuff, but like law enforcement is kind of like a discipline they've had a hard time breaking into the
Yeah.
company. So they saw all these solutions I built for them and how I made it work for them, and they were just astonished. And I was like, I know, and I said the part made me really rewarding is I said, I know it's not as good as those folks in Texas, and they stopped me and they're like, you need to get out there and see what they've got. And he's like, kid, you've left them in the dust.
Wow.
And my boss heard them and he goes, thanks a lot, guys. Now I'm gonna have to give them a raise.
Yes. Is that a thing? Like, I don't know if you want to really get into it, but like for me, like it's just raises to like don't really happen.
No, I've gotten
in the charity industry. It's like you don't really.
Well, I mean, I understand that. I've gotten 4 or 5 raises at my job
Boy.
over the last 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
I mean, I don't care, but I make about twice now than when I started.
Yeah. Holy snap. Good for you.
Yep. I got a boost when I graduated college. I almost left for a job in Florida, and I got a boost to stay.
Yeah.
And I got a boost after Super Bowl. I actually tried to negotiate a demotion last year because he wanted to make me management, and I wanted to like work from home.
Yeah.
It was the year before last year, year
Oh,
before
that's
COVID.
amazing. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
offered to give money back. I was like, you can have the money if I can have less responsibility. And
Is that when we met? Like we met in Nashville.
it was around that time.
Right around that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was very
That's
funny. My boss was like, you're the only person I know who's tried to take less money.
I don't know. I feel like that's a thing now too, like with everybody going back to work. And it's so funny how like we're just forced to now figure out how people can work from home, and people have kind of done that. So flexibility is going to be huge, I think, to keep people around.
I was ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, definitely.
And my boss and I, we've really kind of built this agency together. It's basically just me and him. We've been there
That's
the longest.
so cool.
So he basically retooled around me, and he didn't take less money. He was like, I want you to do more. He's like, this is why we hired you. He's like, but you've earned it. He's like, so we're just going to have you do this now.
That's so nice. It's so rare for a supervisor to say something, even like remotely close to that. I feel like that's so rare to have that that level of being in touch and just being aware of
my boss
what
is
you bring
great.
to the
That's
table.
why I don't
That's
leave.
awesome.
The company that makes this product, they've wanted to hire me a dozen times. They've offered me a bunch of different jobs, twice my salary, but I don't leave because I like who I work for. He's very flexible.
I've often heard people quit bosses, not jobs.
That makes sense. I believe that.
Me too.
He's very flexible with me. Like my family takes priorities. He's also like I feel like I've earned, like he's very hands off with me. He knows that I know what needs to get done, and he knows that I know the level that he expects. And oftentimes, if he just gets out of my way, I do it better anyway. So I kind of just work on my own, and then we just basically cross paths and we like debrief each other, and then we go off and conquer the other side.
Nice. I'm glad you talk about it, man. I really am glad that I don't think that I could talk. Like my job is boring. There's no way, but I find it fascinating. Like I feel like I'm very lucky because I love what I do. Well, I don't want to. Like I don't.
Why?
I don't know because
this show is too often you asking me talking, and then you saying you don't want to answer about it.
I know, but the thing is, like I feel, and I want to give you some credit here too. Is I think you do a really good job about talking about your job in a way that like other people who are outside of it can understand. Like for me, like I'd have to like go all I go back to the beginning. Like I'd have to. I don't know exactly where I would even start. Maybe it's just because you've been doing it for so long, you kind of get better about it. But I'm bad at it, like even just in general. Like I'm bad about it, like talking to like my wife really is like we worked in the same industry, so she can understand like the inner workings.
My basic understanding is you work for a charity and you basically work with partners to raise donations.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of like like what is the core of my job is just to make sure that we always have more people donating to the cause than those who didn't.
So let me ask you this. So in your way of doing this, what is the incentives that you push off? Like, are you like whining and dining folks?
Some people are. I'm more of like I'm at like one of the reasons that I'm so involved, or I guess just naturally involved in like Extra Life and things like that, is because like those are the types of people that I'm trying to get to donate. Like the people like you and me, like who don't have $1 trillion, who can give $75, $150, $200, things like that. So there's like a range of people who I like.
I mean, I don't think anybody in the chat would disagree with me when I say this, and you're probably a perfectly suited person for that.
Well, that's why I love it so much.
Yeah,
Like there's a blend of like art and science. So it's like a lot of data, a lot of spreadsheets, a lot
sure.
of analytics. So like my brain is just like, yes, let's go. But then my heart is in it as well, where I'm like I'm seeing these people, running marathons and doing these 24-hour things and all this stuff like really challenging themselves
You're just a really
to raise money.
naturally like bubbly, charming type of person. Like I could imagine I could stick you in a room with strangers and you'd be everybody's favorite person to talk to.
Well, it's funny you say that because that is another kind of like element of the industry that I don't enjoy as much,
I'm sure you
to be
don't,
honest
but
with
you're
you.
good at it.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm
See?
okay at it. There's like some people who are exceptional
Yeah,
at
where
that,
I would be
you know,
awful. I would literally be awful.
which is like, and I think people probably listening to this might have a hard time believing that with either of us because we'll just talk about anything to seemingly anybody. But
I
yeah, I
don't
don't
I
know.
don't I can't talk about things passionately if I'm not passionate about them. You'll like
Yes.
my emotions are always out. Like people know exactly how I feel. Like you hear it in
Yeah.
my voice. Like I've
Yeah.
always been that way. I can't turn it on. I don't have
Well,
that bone in me.
or it's burning calories. Like you'll get like I don't know if you kind of are forced to do it, and then you'll be exhausted
When we
afterwards. You're like,
do
holy crap, I'm out of
when we
gas.
do like the closest I can say is like when I do like a pitch or like so sometimes I have to go out to like a like an agency or department and I'm like trying to pitch them to use us instead of
Yeah.
something else. So I've got to
Right.
put it on and like be really really nice and inviting and it totally wears me out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll come home
Yeah.
and just like fall on the bed. Like I don't have
Yep.
that kind of social energy.
And it's not like you've been, digging a hole all day, swinging a hammer or anything like that. But it's a different type of exhausting, which
Yeah,
is kind of
it is.
strange. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We're now into summertime and it not really the craziest time. Like we're like retail, honestly. Like October, November, December, things are
I've
nuts.
worked with some of your groups. Like we've got the Cancer Foundation, which is in our city. We have a bunch of nonprofits that will volunteer things or provide funding or provide materials or assets to like one of our causes, like a public safety
Oh
cause or
yeah.
things like that. And so I've come across folks like that a bunch. There's lots of suits, lots of. That's why I asked you if you like wine and dine people. Lots of fancy restaurants, lots of fancy tables. Like there is a lot of
Yep.
that.
Sometimes I'll get wined and dine, which is kind of nice because
That's nice.
I hire companies
My wife
to
works
to
with
help us
my
out.
wife's a paralegal, and they have folks that come through that want them to use like their services and stuff, and they wine and dine her all the time.
Yeah.
Take them out, they
I
bring
want to
them
get
care
back to it.
baskets and all kinds of stuff. It's like man, this is sweet.
Uh,
It rarely
Joe,
happens for
bad
us.
bit in the chest that I wine and dine him all the
Oh,
time. Well, I will be in New York City just
Ooh.
before Extra Life. I'm typically in New York around November.
Hmm.
It's been an annual thing for me for quite some time. So
Sure.
that'll be nice. I'll be able to, and it's funny because like a boardroom's a boardroom. Like once you're in the meeting, you're like, you don't go like, I can't believe I'm in New York City in a boardroom. Like
Right.
you're locked in this room with people for 10 hours in a day. And then you get to go to a nice restaurant, which is nice. I went to been to Broadway because of my work, which is
Sure.
on top of the whole
What'd
what
you
people
see
probably
on
first
Broadway?
think with charities is like you get paid to
Yeah.
work for a charity is like
Yeah.
yes and like all these other things. It's a very
And like we
it's
work,
a very cool career, man.
it's very different, but like we work weekly with the American Red Cross, like our chapter.
Yeah.
We're hand
Yep.
in hand. We support each other constantly.
Red Cross is very cool. Red Cross is a very cool charity. Like they are, and I often talked about kind of like comparing what happened last year with the pandemic and everything to what the Red Cross does almost on like a daily or weekly basis. Where Red Cross is kind of like going along, and all of a sudden there's a tsunami somewhere, and they're like gigantic fundraising effort. Like that's a huge amount of
Yep.
work that goes into it. And I'm like, that is really, really
Their
impressive for
donation
them to.
management system is a monster.
Yeah, it's a beast. It's an absolute beast. And
You're
then they get
talking-
people giving monthly.
You're talking thousands of national warehouse systems like coordinating together. It's a whole logistics piece.
It's funny because I'm usually pretty shy about crossing the streams of content creation and work. And two of my coolest bosses that I've had discovered that I do this. And they're cool because they wanted to know more. Like they were legit. My current boss, who I actually have a huge amount of admiration for right now, she's like, so let me get this straight. Because what part of my job is to have like I manage our monthly giving file, people who give every single month, trying to grow the number of people who give every month. And so she's like, so you have your own monthly giving file, like
Yeah.
with Patreon and everything? I'm like, yeah, like she's like, you are exceptionally qualified in and out of this world to
Yep.
be doing this thing. So yeah, but I look at like the Red Cross and what happens with them almost on a weekly basis, and then the pandemic hit, and we're a healthcare charity. And I'm like, this is our tsunami. This is our earthquake. Like we gotta get after it. And I was right. Like that was a huge. People were, in a lot of times in charities, people don't think with their heads; they think with their guts. And like, ooh, like people don't want to be bothered about this sort of thing. And that maybe some people don't, but a lot of people did. A lot of people did want to support. It was top of mind for the entire planet.
I think
So it's like that type of thing that I tap into.
I don't know about other countries, right? I can only speak to it, but I think Americans are pretty open to being charitable for the right cause.
Oh, big time. Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Europe as well. Yeah, that's a pretty and that's what we kind of watch. Like I'm definitely looking at what are the causes that people care about. I think health will kind of persist. It will always be something that people want to contribute to, but like what do kids care about right now when they're 20? Like they a lot of social movements, a lot of maybe even humanitarian stuff. So like it's a totally different style of it's weird to call it competition, but it is.
It
Like,
is.
what do people want what do they want to contribute towards? Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're
super interesting.
adversaries. Just means that you're in
Oh,
the same
dude,
space.
I'm competitive. I am very like I look at other
F
charities
those
who kind of
Red
like live in
Cross.
our space. I'm like Red Cross, and I look at like and I admire the competition because I look at them and they're excellent at what they do, and they don't like they live in the same space but maybe a little bit different. But I look at some who like really cross over. I'm like, you guys are done. Like we're better at this than you guys, and I know it. We're better than you, and we know
know
it.
it.
I watched a bunch of movies last night, Don, because my family's gone.
I woke up at 3 a.m. to a text from you that said something about Midsummer.
Midsummer.
So I'm happy that you watched it. It's my favorite horror movie.
I had to watch 2 movies afterwards, so just to make sure that I'd have a decent night's sleep.
I have this
watched-
really like preachy, snobby movie review tweet about Midsummer on my bookmarks.
I should watch. I should
where
look at it.
I put like all the vocabulary I could, like the Rotten Tomatoes tweet
Sure.
review. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was enthralled the first time I saw it. It was amazing.
First time. How many times have you watched it?
4.
4 times. Is it so you pick up something new every time?
They released the director's cut on Apple. It was exclusive to Apple, so
Oh.
I used my wife's account to buy it, and then they released the director's cut as a special limited physical release, and I bought that and I watched it again.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What's because like sometimes I have a hard time imagining like what was cut when you see a movie like that.
With this movie, it's actually you could probably watch it again and you probably wouldn't notice it. It's not that
Yeah.
there's not a lot. There is a lot, but it's really just kind of on the periphery. It's just like
Sure.
more dialogue between the characters. So like
Yeah.
you don't necessarily notice it unless you're like counting words.
Yeah.
But it does flesh out like the relationship and the deteriorating of that. It fleshes that out a bit more. There's a little bit more I forget the name of the word, like just there's just a little bit more as to why they're like kind of splitting up, Like,
Danny and Christian.
Yeah, I think the theatrical release, it just seems like he's just kind of a dick.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much. I hated him.
Right. But there's no like really reason for him being that way. He just kind of like flips, right?
Sure.
In
Yeah.
the director's
You
cut,
get a bit
there's
of
just
sense
a
of, like,
little bit more to that. It's not a lot, but just a little.
Yeah. I mean, it hit me hard even because, a friend of mine who he passed away from suicide did so through carbon monoxide
Wow.
poisoning.
Yeah.
So to start things out like that, I was like, oh, I was not ready for this. Okay. And I thought it like,
There's a scene in
it was
the
a heavy
director's
movie to watch.
There's a scene in the director's cut where her sister with the mask in the tube is like in the imagery of the forest.
Oh, wow.
And you just like, yeah, you would have never seen it, but it's like it's there. If you Google
Yeah.
it, you'll see it. Like it's it's all there, but it's in trees. There's a lot of like Easter eggs and stuff in the director's cut like that, little nods.
Yeah. It was,
I love the movie.
I'd love to do a spoiler
Movie.
cast with you. I don't know if like this is the space for it, if we have to warn people about it, but like I was pretty taken by, and I don't
Have
know
you
if
seen Hereditary?
No, but this might be a thing because I like that, because I think it was just last week that you talked about Midsummer. I'm like, I gotta watch that.
Ari
movie. And
Aster is a genius, and I will watch anything he does. Like
Yeah,
he's earned. We did an episode of this on Decade of Horror. This is the
Right.
2019 episode.
that's what I was gonna reference.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Ari Aster, like it's basically a 90-minute love fest to Ari Aster, because if you love horror movies, this guy came out of the gate with 2 of the best ever. Not best of the year, all-timers, like crushed them. Like Hereditary was so good. And I was like, we'll see this new one. It can't be as good. Look at all this sunshine. Look at all these happy people.
Right, well,
and
that's
then
what I
you
was gonna
see it
comment
and you're
on.
like, holy shit, it's better.
It's broad daylight.
Better.
everything. I feel like he almost did it in on purpose.
Oh, it's
Like, let's see
it's
how
absolutely
bright and colorful we
the
can
thing
make
that I love
this,
about
and
it
it's
most.
horrifying.
Like my lasting review of it is it lulls you into accepting what's happening. By the time you get there, I mean,
Yep.
look, spoilers. I know people don't like this. It's 2021, by the way, so you're late on watching this movie. But
2 years.
when this movie ends, there's literally people being burned alive.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like totally okay with it because it has taken so much of its time to get there that
Yeah.
I felt like in the theater, I felt like people were like numb or like not even like weren't even registering
Yeah.
how horrific it was. Because I hear a lot of
Right,
people like
right.
that. They'll say, "Oh, it wasn't that scary." It's like, "Oh, it's plenty scary." You just kind of
Right.
accepted it because it's
One
not
step at a time.
a jump scare like axe in the face. It's like slow, man. Like they ripped the dude's lungs out. It's like that is horrific.
I remember like thinking like as they were zooming out on that spot, like I was glad because it's kind of fuzzy at first, like you can't really see what's going on. I'm like, oh, thank God, like they didn't need to show it. Like I get it, he's kind of hanging there, and then all of a sudden, like,
Then they show it.
oh, those are moving, those are inflating,
He's alive.
he is alive, and I was kind of waiting for him to like do. I'm not sure how exactly they would keep him alive,
And they just keep it
also,
still. Like, and they just let you sit there with it, you know?
Yeah, but also like why did they have to keep him like that's a torturous type of thing.
Yeah.
Like was he being punished
Yeah.
because okay, because he wanted to leave? Was that the guy who wanted to leave?
I don't remember because I haven't watched it since the director's cut. So it's been a year or two, or it's been a year since I've watched it.
Yeah, that's fair. And I like sometimes
I
they
think
were
Decade
so
of Horror
mangled,
might have
I couldn't
been
recognize them.
the episode might have been the last time I watched it.
There was one time they were carrying somebody in like a
last year.
wheelbarrow, and they were so decayed that I didn't know like was that a character that I knew? I couldn't really tell in some cases. It was just like totally horrifying. Yeah, Babbitt in the chat references the cliff scene, which is just like, but also like they're just
That's the
to your
thud.
point.
That thud that.
Oh,
that-
and it's the face that
That's the
pops,
one
like,
that first gets you, and you're like, "Oh shit, sit up."
Oh, and then so she does like a swan dive off the cliff. She's like, I just got to make this happen. And the other guy doesn't really do the same thing, and it's like, oh, he's doing it that way. Ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work, and then it doesn't work.
And if
I
you've
get
ever
a
been
little
into like
squiggly about
any
it.
of like that pagan worship stuff and like the gods and the way these traditions that some of these folks had and like before Euro and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like stuff gets like before King Arthur and stuff, like shit got weird,
yeah, yeah.
real weird, man.
When they do justify it, they're like, well, maybe like you put your old
all
people
grounded.
in. Yeah,
There's a reason for everything.
the one guy was really studying. The one guy, like the boyfriend, I didn't place him as like a PhD student. He seemed like an idiot. He didn't
No.
seem very smart. He seemed like he was just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like to get to that point, you have to at least have some sort of something like discipline, or I'm not sure. I wasn't like expecting him to like speak a different way, but he just didn't really seem to have any focus at all. And maybe they like something needed to happen to him to make him that way that he didn't. Maybe that gets fleshed out a little bit, but he just sort of like wanders through. It's like, how do you become a PhD student and you're just kind of floating through life? Like, I just don't. That didn't really jive with me in the movie.
Okay.
I don't think that was like my only thing. Also, and the other guy who really was into it, Josh, I think his name was, like, maybe he just didn't like he seemed to know much more about it, and still didn't really see it coming. I'm not really sure if he just didn't think that they actually did.
Yeah,
that
I think
sort of
I
stuff.
think they knew about like nobody's gonna go to that place in that retreat if you know that they just kill everybody.
Right,
Like you're not
exactly.
gonna know there, but yeah.
Yeah,
And think about like how
Ugh.
think about what happens. How hard that would be to believe if somebody told you that.
That's
Like,
true.
they're gonna put you in a bear costume and light you on fire. Get out of here. That's ridiculous. Look at these nice people.
Well, at least he didn't seem to. He didn't seem to. Like, I don't know if he just couldn't emote, but he probably felt it. The other two, like they give him the little like the sap or whatever. They give him a little something and they say like taste this and you won't feel any
To be honest with you, I didn't really care enough to invest myself in any of the non-Florence Pugh characters. Like she was so the center of my
Oh, yeah.
attention, and she just
Yeah.
crushes that performance.
Yeah. Where is she? Is she from anything? Like I feel like she reminded me of
She's been
Hayden
in other
Panettiere
things.
actually in that
Yeah, she's
in
been
that
in other
role.
things. We've
The Hammer. Yeah,
watched
you
when we
guys.
were doing Decade of Horror. We were just watching movies just because she was in it.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like with Midsummer was so good, we're like, oh, she's in it. Let's watch it.
It made me question a couple of things in terms of like what I want to watch and
She
what
did
I
Black
want to
Widow.
do.
And she did
I
Macbeth.
don't remember if I saw that one.
Not as much as she did Malevolent. It's a big one.
Mm.
Yep, other stuff.
So it really bothered me, and I think that's the point of the movie.
Of course it
Like it
is.
really like,
It's
and
totally
I'm aware of that.
unsettling.
Totally. And I often look at, sometimes I'll finish up down here doing whatever podcast or whatever, and I'll go upstairs and Chelsea's sitting there, she's working away, and she'll always have a movie on or a series or something. And something inevitably is something awful is happening with whatever she's watching. Like she's watching some true crime thing where somebody got
My
murdered and
wife
split up
loves
in
the
all
true
these
crime
pieces.
stuff. Yeah.
Whatever, or even like fiction too. And I just like, why do you do that to yourself? And then I watched Midsummer last night. And I'm like, why did I do that to myself? I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, which was the first time I'd ever watched that, which is amazing.
Yeah. Good movie.
I just need to like cleanse a little bit. I'm like, I can't
My
go to
wife's
sleep
that way.
after that.
So, all right, I have two things here. Obviously, you know that I love horror movies. I have like a
Right.
shrine built to my horror movies.
Right.
I've watched. I love my horror movies forever, and my wife has
Yeah.
known this about me. I think our second date, I took her to the Dawn of the Dead remake, and she's
Yeah.
never done horror movies. So
Yeah.
like, I just threw her in. She was not having it. What I really love about her, and like that we got married and stuck together, is now she's grown like an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Now she also gets excited to watch horror movies, like when they come out. Like tomorrow, we're gonna go see The Purge, because
Yes.
we've seen The Purge and we've always seen it in theaters. So we're gonna go
Yeah.
watch it tomorrow. So she's excited to go with me, even though she doesn't like. I wouldn't call her somebody that likes horror movies, but it's like I've almost like warmed her up to them. Because
Yeah.
every Halloween, if you didn't listen to Decade of Horror, every Halloween, we sit down and we pull 20, 25 movies. And I usually pull from a bunch of different eras. Like we'll take like some really old, some that are really new, like a slasher from the 80s, like a 90s flick, a lesser known thing. So
Yep.
over the years, you do that for a decade, and she's really seen like the gambit. She's seen like
Yeah.
the best of the best and the worst of the worst, and everything in between. Midsummer. The funny story about Midsummer was it came out the same day as Annabelle Comes Home, and I love Annabelle, Chucky. So
My sister named her daughter Annabelle, and like the
That's
movies
awesome.
were out.
if I had another daughter,
No, but
I would
not,
probably
not
name her
because
Annabelle.
not because of them. Like it was
So?
just that.
It's still awesome. It's a
I
beautiful
like,
name.
but for you, it's different.
I
Like-
want
like
an
you have
Annabelle doll.
appreciation.
Like I'm trying to get an Annabelle doll, and my kids are like not having it. Anyway, so
Just no.
so it comes out the same day. So she could only go to one movie. So we decided to go watch Annabelle Comes Home because we didn't know a whole lot about Midsummer. So we went and watched Annabelle Comes Home. I like Annabelle Comes Home. That is not a popular thing. Most people don't like
Right.
it. I like Annabelle Comes Home. She likes it. We had a good time. We go home. I go to the movie theater the next day. I don't remember what she's done. I think she's working. I watched Midsummer, and I text her. I'm like, we made the wrong choice.
Oh wow. No
She's like,
doubt.
what are you talking about? I was like, this is the best horror movie I've ever seen. Like, I'm so happy that I saw it in theaters. Like, I can't believe this is happening. That's my lasting memory of Midsummer, is the fact that for the first time in my life, I was seeing like a top shelf, my favorite type of horror movie in theaters as it was releasing. Because so many of the ones that I like are old.
Right.
So it doesn't happen often.
But also like a version of like a gore porn or slasher or zombie. Like there's like you could do it excellently. I think you should maybe like, I'd love to see like your take on like the different subgenres of horror.
Sure.
And like what makes them that, and the movies that sort of like are hallmarks of that subgenre. Because like I don't know what to make of Midsummer. Like I don't know where that fits. I don't know like
It's folk horror.
it's what?
It's folk horror, which is
Oh,
becoming
okay, so
like
it's based in-
it's becoming a thing. Like that's becoming a trendy thing.
Sure.
It kind of like falls in. It's like
Get Out?
It's like sub-religious. Get Out. The Witch is
Yeah.
very much in like the same vein. It's like
I
that.
don't think I saw
It's
The
like
Witch.
that art house horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like,
the
I didn't know
new.
what to-
I was actually just telling somebody this on Twitter because they were saying, I don't remember who it was. I'd shout them out, but somebody was telling me, they were like, like all the new movies are just gore fest. I'm like, we definitely went through a period there from like 2005
Right.
to like 2012
Saw
where that was a
Saw
thing,
brought that on.
right?
Mhm.
And I
Hostel.
still appreciate that. Like I appreciate those movies for what they are. I was like, but we
Yeah.
have definitely corrected to where now they're almost the opposite of that. Like
Yeah.
we have seen a course correction in horror where they're getting a lot of these to the point where I think some people are getting tired of these, but I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'll take
Yeah.
all of it. Give me all of
It's
it.
always going to be like that's the thing that kind of caught me because I don't watch a ton of horror just in general. I haven't watched like a lot of movies in quite some time actually. Honestly, the biggest takeaway from last night was just it was kind of nice just to go. I'm gonna start and complete an entirety of a thing.
Yeah.
It's a movie. Like
I love
it
movies
was
for
either
that
that or
reason.
I was gonna play Scarlet Nexus. And it's a big reason why I don't do TV. Like
I don't do
yeah,
TV.
It gets
That's what I was
it
just
gets
about to
good after
say.
like episode 9.
I almost 90% of my watching time is basically all movies. I like self-enclosed stories.
Same. I think I always have.
I love
Like,
movies.
aside from the fact that back in the day we would have like watch parties for 24 and Lost, like we'd have people over and it made
Wow.
a thing out of that. Walking Dead, like like not a ton of people, like just like
I just think
that was like college days.
the
we'd
indefinite
have study
commitment
parties
to
and mix
those
them
are
in.
something I can never really do. I have never gotten into TV really ever.
But I wasn't into games as much. Like there's often we'll talk about this, like some of my blind spots are like the Fable days, things like that, which is about the same time.
Love Fable.
Like where I wasn't playing all of that stuff. I would play a little NHL, Call of Duty, and I think I got into like Fallout 3 at a certain point.
I asked
whenever
Phil to
that
put
came out.
Fable stuff on the Gear Store this week.
You asked Phil to do it?
I
Like
took
Phil
a
Spencer?
screenshot because I went to the Gear shop and I typed in Fable and I was like, there's 0
Mm-hmm.
products for Fable. So I tagged all the Xbox people and I was like, can we fix this maybe? Like
Yeah,
I'd
no
like
doubt.
to give you guys some money.
I want to get back into movies though, man. Like this is the
love
thing.
movies.
So I'm looking for like recommendations.
Hereditary.
I got to find out where this is, and I also that's
Hereditary
not as,
is
like,
a completely different movie. It's almost like three. It's almost like 3 movies in one. It's like a
find this.
connected anthology actually.
yeah.
It's excellent in a completely different way from Midsummer. I'd love to hear what somebody thinks about Hereditary if they having seen it after Midsummer.
Oh snap! It is on Netflix. Okay, cool. And all these other movies pop in when I type in, which I love. Hereditary, The Ritual, The Witch.
I'll give you 2
his-
more if you haven't seen them. The other one that I was really like kind of excited. It's not as good as Midsummer, but the time I saw it, I fell in love with it. Watch The Strangers.
Oh, I haven't watched. I have that movie. I haven't watched that forever. Is that the one with Liv Tyler? It's the same one with the masks and everything.
And there's a sequel
Yeah.
too. And I think the
I gotta watch
sequel's
it
on
again.
Netflix.
I think I should watch it again because that might have been one like Midsummer you talk about. Like I don't remember it being terrifying.
Oh,
Like,
The
I don't
Strangers
know.
is absolutely terrifying.
I don't. Maybe we're just joking around.
The
when we're
Strangers
watching it. I should watch it again.
is quite. Every time somebody's like, "I want to be terrified," that's almost my go-to movie. Like The Strangers is the most
Interesting.
terrifying movie.
I didn't watch it correctly.
it's-
Like that's the
it's-
thing. While watching
It's
it, right?
just so utterly based in reality. It's actually based on a real story, which makes it
Oh,
even worse. But it's
no.
really
Oh,
based on
no.
a real story, not like Texas Chainsaw. Like it's really based on a real
Sure.
story. So,
Yeah.
and it happens all the time, but it's truly terrifying.
The Strangers and Hereditary. They're going on the whiteboard.
Going on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Make a list. Let me get my little Sean thing where you click the pin.
I mean, this is really could be like a subsection of this show. It's just like Donnie
Just
hits me
turns
up with a
into
movie to
Decade of
watch,
Horror.
or just they're all horror movies, I guess. Yeah, like
I
whatever.
watch a lot of horror movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything. Like if it does.
Be nasty.
Here's the funny thing. You'll like this. You'll appreciate this. So I reached out for a review code on a golf game.
Yeah.
And I wrote the email to them and I was like, hey, like I do this thing, have this podcast. I don't know how you don't usually reach out for review codes, right? They just send them to you.
I do. I fail a lot.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
So
What
this
I'm asking,
would be
I'm
a
not
good
getting
time
it.
to talk about. This is great. Let's talk about this. So when I reach out for a review code, first and foremost, I only reach out for review codes for games that like I want to review.
Sure,
I'm not trying to
yeah.
like get a free game. I actively don't do that actually. Like I'm not going to reach out for Valhalla because I'm just going to play Valhalla.
Yeah, you'll notice
usually
that
reach
Ryan and
out.
I both bought Scarlet Nexus. So.
Yeah. I usually reach out for review code, usually like a golf game. Something that
Yeah.
I think I can talk about and bring something that isn't there. So I reach out for this golf game and I'm like, hey, I love golf games. I am this person. I am this podcast. I usually send a screenshot of our monthly numbers. I
Yeah.
don't know if you do that.
No.
So I usually go like, here are my podcasts and here's what we do. Like here's our traffic. Like I think that's why that's what reviewers are. That's what like if you're handing
You
out
might be
review
right.
codes, that's what you want to see, right? How many views your YouTube channel have? How many followers do you have on Twitter? Like I'm
Yeah,
not.
I conveniently don't mention our YouTube channel.
I'm not Rebecca, right? Like I don't have
Yeah.
15,000 followers, so I say like, here's my podcast that we do weekly, and here's our numbers for the month. And I wrote him. I was like, I have this like sub following as a person who loves golf games. I was like, I've got Golden Tee. I reviewed PGA 2K. I did Golf Story. I did this one, and I would love to review your game. And I put in this line. I was like, if it golfs, I want to review it.
Nice.
And he replied, he was like, this is the best line ever.
Yes.
He wrote it. He's like, "This is the best line ever." He's like, "I love it." He's like, "You should put that on your Twitter handle. Like, if it golfs, I'll review it."
That's awesome. Did you get the game?
Yeah, it comes out next month. But yeah, when it comes out, I get to play it.
Yeah, I need to work. Babbitt's in the chat. We talked about this a little bit off air too, about the idea of like a pitch deck to like kind of put together just how you pitch your thing, whatever.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's just like standardized. Like I think generally, and I don't know, we haven't gotten to this detail, but I think like there's a visual sort of associated with it as well. Like maybe it's a PDF that you attach.
That'd probably be a good idea. A visual
that's
makes
probably a
sense.
good
It'd probably
idea.
catch some attention. Because who knows if they're even going to open your email or not.
Well, that's the thing that I always kind of go back and forth on is like, do they want very little information? Do they want a lot? Do they because they're busy. Like these people are getting.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
I try to keep
and they have to sort
I try
through.
to keep it brief.
So do I. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, like I don't keep track of my success rate. I don't know if I'm batting 200 or whatever it is.
I don't either, but I mean, I'm pretty good actually. I think. Like when I reach out for a game, I usually get it. But again, I only reach out for games that like I feel maybe even I feel are gettable, but more so like these are games that I'm really interested in. You know?
Yeah.
It's more of that.
Yeah, I did a lot of reflecting on it about about a year and a half ago in terms of like, what do I even want with that? Like, you know, do I even have time to review all of the games? The answer is definitely no.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even have time to play the games that I have.
That's why I like
now,
buying them.
So
it always makes me feel good. I feel good for supporting them. I feel good about if I don't like it, I want to trash it. I feel better about it if I bought it. You know, like that kind of.
Well, and there was a time where I would see other people get the review copy, like, I wasn't good enough to get the review copy. So it kind of does that to you for a little bit. I'm far from that now, but that was a thing where like somebody else got it and you're like, I didn't get it, and you're like, they did something better than me. Either their pitch was better or their numbers are better. Or
I know
whatever.
It's going to sound cliche, but I think all of my podcast hosts would back me up on this. I don't think I could feel more proud of other people if that's like what they want to do. What I don't like about the early access is like when folks get it and they're like not really a reviewer. I think that's what bothers me. Like I want if the people that are doing that, like they need to be on that grind and they need to be doing it often and like regularly. Like don't give me your one review a year that you got early access to. Like do it. You know, like do it every week. Like do it like if you're really a reviewer, that's awesome. I remember Rebecca got early access to Mario, and like she couldn't tell anybody. And I was like, that's amazing. Like you're perfect for this. But she likes that. She wants to be a reviewer. I don't, which is why I try to go for like the game that I think like this game somebody might want to hear me review. That's like the standard that I hold myself to. It's like I don't want to review something that nobody cares about I'm playing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. That has been like sent to you,
even if it's popular or not popular. It's just like Donnie's
Yeah.
playing this platforming RPG that just nobody, you know, like not many people are interested in.
Platforming RPG.
I don't, you know,
what is it?
I'm just
no, because I was going to ask you like what would a genre?
I'm
like
being
a type
generic,
of game
right?
be? Yeah.
But like when I say like,
specific.
hey, I'm reviewing a golf game, like I'm not lying.
Yeah.
There are people that know that I love golf games. I've been told that people love my reviews of golf games, so I feel like
they are very good.
I feel like I'm giving something to that. Like I'm uniquely qualified to be there.
Platforming RPG equals Ori, says Jace in the chat.
Good
it's pretty
point.
close. It's
Good
pretty
point.
close. Yeah. That's actually because we call those Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
Basically. I wonder if I like platforming RPG better.
Like I
than
wanted
Metroidvania.
to review Ori. I wanted to review Tell Me Why Life is Strange. I know we have listeners that like to hear what I have to say about that because they ask me. They ask me in the Discord, what did you think? You know?
Well, when you're playing, so you know that you're going to be talking about like the games that you're playing on a weekly basis. You're generally playing something different. I was going to say new, but it's not always something brand new, but something different each week. Are you like when you do a Mario Golf review, you're taking notes? Like you'll often reference the notes that you're doing.
Well, no, you're right.
I wrote this down.
I wrote that down.
I wrote
so
this
like for
down.
Shaq this week, I did a review for Mario Golf. It's like 35 minutes long. It's way too long.
It was awesome.
But before we recorded Shaq, I sat down that day and I just wanted to wrap up my thoughts because often when I go ad hoc, I'll always forget something. And it'll kill me.
Same.
It'll kill me.
Yeah.
I'll be like, ah. So I just wrote down.
I'm driving
a
a car
couple
and I
bullet
think about
points.
that.
But it's like really shorthand. So when you see me on the podcast, if you watch us live, and you see me on the podcast, you see me like staring, like I'm trying to remember the context for this, like this point that I made with like 3 words.
Right.
Like, what does that mean again? Oh yeah.
I remember one of the first things I did, like early back in the day, I was writing for a website called 16bitkings.com, which unfortunately is all gone. You can't even like go look it up now. Although there's a Wayback Machine, it's like an internet time machine or something that you can like. I gotta find this out because maybe I can find some, or
That's
maybe
a
I
real
don't
thing.
want to find my.
It doesn't
own
always work,
articles.
to be clear.
Yeah.
To be clear, like you got to be somewhat pretty popular for them to keep like a cache, but it does work.
Oh yeah.
I remember one year
wasn't.
I used it to pull. I wanted to take screenshots of the very first iteration of the PSVG website.
Yeah.
Because we had redesigned like 10 times, and I wanted like what it looked like when it first began.
I love those like capture those time capsule
Yeah.
snapshot moments.
Yeah.
You can, because those are the things that show you like how far you've come. Like you cringe a little bit and you think about like goodness gracious, but like they're special in kind of like a weird kind of. You think that we would have been better, like you would
Nostalgic.
think like at the time we were at the cutting edge of technology and everything was great, and you kind of look back at some of our YouTube videos from back in the day, or like me and Bobby especially podcasting if we were at Nintendo and we were doing it from like Google Hangouts, and it would slowly but surely
Dude,
switch over to whoever's speaking
Google
and stuff like
Hangouts
that.
on air. We've all been trying to get back to that. Like that was the GOAT,
Yeah,
and then they
Yeah.
killed it, and that's why people don't like Stadia.
they should seriously that and how many other things. Yeah, they're like we've been around this block before. We
They
know
still
what
have
you're about,
Hangouts, and it's
Google.
still not good. They've got Meet, and it's
No,
not,
they're killing it.
None of
Hangouts
it's-
is going away.
None of it is
It's
as good
chat now.
as Hangouts on air, though. Like they ruined the best thing about all of those things.
They could have owned like podcasting.
Yeah,
really.
they're like, no,
Like,
we've
that
got
could have been the
YouTube
thing.
Live, Sean. The F out of here with that noise.
It's really too bad.
Who's pulling the levers over there?
Some monkeys.
Yeah, I would have doubled down on it. I would have
Totally
called
random.
it like, Google for podcasters or something. I would have totally doubled down on that. Do local
I don't know
recordings and everything. You could have been Anchor.
wonder if-
You could have been Anchor before Anchor.
What is the deal with Anchor? I'm hearing people are like doing Anchor, like they get Anchor for free or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Anchor.
there's some.
I thought it was free. It might not be.
I think it is. No, that's what I'm saying. I think it
Jeff's
is. I
got
didn't
it
know
for
that
free.
about it.
Yeah.
That you can just like host your podcast there. And this sounds like an ad for it. I think that like you host your podcast.
The hosting is free. I think
then
they have like a toolkit.
and then it pushes it everywhere else. Like
Yeah,
goes
but they
to
have a-
Apple, goes to Spotify.
They have something that you can pay for, I'm sure of.
Anchor is free-ish, and that's the thing
Yeah.
that always gets
You
me.
can host
That
for free
says in
though.
the chat.
No, you can't host for free. You can take all of your shows, just put them over there for free, and just not pay Squarespace any money. You can do that.
That sounds. I had a
They're
at one
owned
point
by
I thought like
Babbitt. Maybe correct me here because I'm going off the top of my head, but I think they're owned by Spotify, and I think the big concern was at some point that they would convert to like they would give preference to Spotify for all of this content because they're basically
Oh, yeah.
they're basically accumulating a podcast market under Spotify's umbrella under a new name.
right.
I don't think you could do that without significant backlash, but we've seen plenty of people do that before, and like it doesn't really matter. So I think that some folks, I think, were scared of it when it first started. But I think
Do they
what,
mean
I,
that it
what it
wouldn't
is
be
I
pushing
think
to-
you can host for free, but they have like I think they have like some recording stuff that you could take advantage of that is paid. I want to say. I think you can pay them.
See, I don't want to. I want to change my recording. I don't want to change anything about how.
Yeah,
I
you can.
record.
I host
like ever.
So I canceled. I canceled. What did I do? I moved us off of our master feed. I shut the
Yep.
master feed down. I took the master feed and I put it over on Anchor just so it would just live there.
Right.
Right. So it just
it
didn't
does?
go
And it
away.
lives
It's
there?
just there. Like you can still Google. We're not publishing anything to it anymore. But if you just
Yeah.
were nostalgic and you're like, I want to listen to PSVG's 13th episode, like it's there. Like you just put it there.
Well, I wonder, like, because I don't know if I want to. I even have two. We've talked about this. I actually have two feeds for We the Gamercast because I don't want to close one down, and both of them are equally. I can't choose a winner. They have the exact same. Squarespace tells me the same numbers for both, and they're
That's
not
awesome.
bad, which is hilarious. So I have to post twice to Squarespace every single
Yep.
week. So that's
what we
a
did
whole
with the
thing.
master feed. We were posting twice, and
So-
it was like a huge weight when we just nixed it, and like all of a sudden the posting time was cut in half. We're like,
Of course,
this is way better.
it is. It definitely. It's definitely a thing. But anytime like I move a feed, which I've really only done once before, I always get a little bit nervous. I think
Anchor,
I
I
was
can
listening
tell
to
you
Mark-
that Anchor makes that extremely easy.
Interesting.
You just grab the RSS, you put it in. They're like, "Is this what you want?" And they give you like a preview and everything. You're like, "Yep," and that's it. You're done.
So one way that we could test this, and where my mind immediately went to, and you talked about like, if you're nostalgic sometime and you want to go in the future or whatever, and like listen back on some episodes, like I'm wearing Bobby's shirt, like I'm wearing the Gaming for Guru shirt. I want to maybe talk to his family about maybe moving some of his stuff over onto something like that, because one day, like he hosts all his stuff on Squarespace, and I
Right.
actually haven't. I think it might be down. now.
Really?
So I actually don't know if you can
If it's up.
go back in and look up if we're at Nintendo or how many podcasts did he have. That might be the most difficult part of this undertaking.
That's a
Would
bummer.
be just like, yeah, like it can't, like that just can't happen. Like, and with YouTube, it's nice. YouTube works like that, and obviously
Yeah.
you can go in and look
Yep.
at that. But like I would do that. Like, and I would probably, I know there's a lot of people who would want to help out with that as well.
Yeah.
But Anchor, that sounds like a pretty decent solution there.
Yep.
And then just see what it looks like when you move a podcast over.
Yeah,
Maybe I would do
Spotify's,
that.
they're throwing a lot of money into this. They want to be the player in podcasting.
Oh, it's one.
It's
like
not just
I
Joe
always
Rogan,
wonder, like, what,
but he's the big one, right?
well, yeah.
Yeah.
What is the money like in like I don't really know because like we pay like I pay Squarespace to host my podcast.
Correct.
Like I don't really know what Apple or even Spotify gets out of that. I guess it creates people. It pushes people to have the Spotify app, which makes them maybe a little bit more likely to buy into their
Well, it's
music
advertising.
subscription. Is
It's
that
advertising? You got current users. You got to think about it just from the data and the data visualization they can do. More users means more opportunity to get ads to more people that they can showcase on a chart,
Yeah.
and they still
I
advertise.
guess that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's just a thing that
Think
like,
about it. Like you give us whatever it is, right? Because there's a footprint. There's a price per footprint, right? You give us
Right.
115 marker that we run, and yeah, you can do it over at Podbean or Apple, but if you do it with us, we can do 8 times the traffic and stuff like that. Like that stuff matters in marketing. It's all numbers.
yeah, it's kinda
Marketers,
interesting.
Marketers don't give a crap. They don't care if it's Apple or Podbean or Anchor or Castbox.
Well,
They don't care.
that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying. Like, what is Spotify or like to be number one at like as a podcast platform, either being Spotify or Apple or Google. Like, you don't pay Google to host a podcast or for them to have your podcast be like found on Google Podcasts. So, like, where is their revenue coming from? From is it just the data?
It might be, and I think also your real point, just total active users. With Spotify, like
Yeah.
their business is built off music, which is
Yeah.
already like super competitive. So if they can lock
Yeah.
in podcasters, they're probably hoping that they can get them to convert.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause
Just keep it all under one
already
place.
use the app.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what Babbitt says. You push them to the app. So,
Yep.
which is funny because like Google's the only one that kind of, I don't know. Well, Spotify is all combined. Spotify is actually what the music app used to be on your phone, where podcasts were actually baked in. And then it wasn't until Apple split out the podcast app onto its own that I actually got into podcasts. That's where I was like, because it just appeared, and I'd always kind of like. It was a listed item in the music app. It was like you go down and like there's podcast down there. It's like, oh, that's for somebody else.
I used to
But once it,
download
like,
my
popped up-
podcast to my Zune. And then
Zune?
take my
No
Zune to
way.
the gym. I never had I have an Apple, I have an iPhone, if you didn't hear. This is my
Yeah,
first
what do you?
this is
you
my
can't
first
be liking
iPhone.
It. You can't be
No,
enjoying
I'm not.
that, man.
No, I'm not. It's not. I've got a lot of issues, but here's the silver lining is that I don't like using my phone, so it really doesn't matter.
Right.
I don't use my
Yeah.
phone anyway. I text everybody from my computer. I send all of my messages. I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't wanna
How
talk
do you
to
text from
folks.
your computer? What do you like just a regular SMS text?
So
or-
for years,
Hangouts
I
or
just had
something?
Google Messages just synced to all of my
Right.
devices.
Yeah.
Now, I either send messages through Google to my work team, which is who I'm
Mm-hmm.
texting, or my family. We use the Signal app. So I text my wife and my kids through Signal.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
to me, I'd rather do this than mess with
Yeah.
my phone.
Oh, definitely. I hate using my phone. That's why. That's why I didn't like using Android very much because it just demanded me to fiddle with it. a
Babbitt,
lot.
I had to switch. The county was no longer supporting Google devices, and everybody else on my team, I was the only person on my team that wasn't on the iPhone. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The camera's not nearly as good.
It
Every
sucks.
time
Yeah,
they,
the camera's
every
not
time
nearly as
they have like a Apple
When I take
event, they're like,
pictures-
the camera's this.
Of my screen in my game on this, like ever since I got
Yeah.
it, I'm like, that's just not. It doesn't look like it looks now. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So there might be less of those for me, which maybe it's a net positive. I think some people
I
may
don't know
have
about that. I like your
unfollowed
pictures like
me
that.
for doing that.
Oh, stop! There's no way. There's no way.
I'd be surprised. We had
know.
one person who's just like, why do you keep taking pictures of your TV like it has a screenshot button? I'm like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like this looks better.
No, I think that is whatever. I think as displays have gotten better as well, people come to understand that a little bit more. Also, a lot of people taking screenshots and having HDR turned on doesn't always turn out the way that you want it to. Like,
Ooh, you just reminded me, Sean. Spoilers for Empire. I got an Elite controller.
Did you?
Yeah, I miss it.
Doesn't have a share button.
I know, but here's the thing: I don't use the share button because it's not as good as my phone.
Good point. That's really funny. Hey,
I'm
Daniel.
really not using the share button. Like I was all
That's
excited
really
for
funny.
it before we got
Yeah.
it. Now that we have it, I
Yeah.
don't use it because it's not as good.
And it's not as good as actually. The funny thing is, I feel like Nintendo nailed it with their photo button.
It's very
the best one
It's
of
very
all the
snappy.
three.
It's very
I
fast.
feel that's exactly what I want. I want it instant. I want it like it because what ends up happening, I think, on PlayStation and on Xbox is like it does take the picture in that moment, but it doesn't give
You
me
gotta
that
get
like
the
I don't
overlay.
know that.
You gotta get the bing and the little reminder and all that.
It takes a screenshot like my phone takes a screenshot. It does a little like clicky. It gives me that satisfaction. It's all good. Daniel says I've turned auto HDR off, but I do have HDR. So I think I've turned auto HDR off as well.
I'm not.
I struggle with it a little bit, and that's frustrating for me because I like things looking their best.
Yep.
But I have to fiddle with things quite a lot, actually.
I'll just stop using
It
screenshot.
turns
button.
out. Yeah.
Like,
Well, and that was, I remember it
this
was very
sucks.
distressing. Speaking of reviewing, 40 minutes ago, when they sent me the Series X, and I'm like, I'm trying to capture footage. I'm like, I wasn't able to get it perfect. And a lot of stuff it wasn't not even just not perfect, but it was pretty bad, actually.
Yeah.
I think Macro's in the chat, and he got like a very specific capture card to get all the things. Like it captures HDR properly. It
Oh,
gets
that's
the 4K.
nice.
It looks beautiful. He's got
That's
a great
smart.
YouTube channel. Yeah,
That's
it's
smart.
awesome. And you notice on his YouTube channel that it looks like it's supposed to, and you look at any other gameplay capture, and it's like that kind of looks like I would have expected. So
Xbox has done a lot
nice.
of great things. I do enjoy it. Of the next gen consoles, I enjoy my Xbox far more than I do my PlayStation 5, but it sucks when it comes to social sharing, streaming, capture. Like all of that is woefully behind. It's not even behind this gen, it's like behind where we started last gen.
yeah, never.
I feel
yeah,
like
they
we
never
used
really
to be
improved that.
better than it is now. It's like it's gotten worse. It's regressed.
I shared a screenshot from my Switch, and it's like it sends it to your phone, which I
I don't
love.
do that. Yeah.
Oh, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty decent actually.
Okay.
I was just kind of seeing what it was.
Sure.
Because I never really like tried. I'm like I was in a playful mood, I guess, Donnie. And I actually kind of liked it. Like I just liked that there was an additional way that I could do it, rather than I guess connecting my phone to the like. Can you even do that? Can you connect your phone and use it like a smart glass type of thing with Nintendo? I don't think you can do
No.
that. Like a remote keyboard
I
type
don't
of
think
thing. So.
so.
They send you the picture so that you can send it that way, rather than you doing the smart glass thing. Yeah. Tony says big fan to scan the QR code and download it. It's interesting. It's an interesting kind of like workaround.
Look at you guys.
It's a thing.
I just
Or you
sent
can
it-
just take a picture of
I
your
just sent it to Twitter.
TV.
That's all I'm gonna share it anyway.
You also have a very nice like setup.
Oh,
Like
thank
my,
you.
I
Put a lot
need
of
to.
work
I
into
need
that.
to. My family's gone, so I'm actually in. You're gonna make fun of me because it seems like I should just be like playing games the whole time. It should be on like staycation mode. I'm cleaning everything.
No,
Like,
I do that all the time.
I'm very
Why would
happy
you
with
think
that.
I'd make fun of you? I do that all the time.
Well, because you made fun of my vacation because I don't know how to vacation
Well,
properly.
yeah, but I was always that way. I think a lot of people are. I don't think this is really. I don't think this is a small group of us. But I was always that person. Like, I can't work, I can't game, I can't enjoy myself if things aren't right. So that's all. It's a part of my process. Like, if I was ever doing work, if I was doing homework, if I was in school, if I'm gaming, watching a movie, like I always clean my space.
Spent my space especially,
Yep.
and now it's like. So normally I'm just kind of keeping track of the basement. This is the only place that I can really like maintain realistically because when the kids are around, like everything's just like you clean something up and you go back to where you start and it's all a mess all over again.
Yep.
But this space, like they don't really come down here, so there's like I have no excuse. Like this space right here better be perfect all the time.
Yep.
So I really enjoy having that. But my space out there where I play games is like not always. So that's what I'm really looking for. I'm gonna give it a nice clean down. I'm throwing
funny-
a ton of stuff out.
The last game tech that we recorded, right when that was over, my wife was packing for us to go on vacation. I spent that afternoon. I rewired everything in my basement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very satisfying.
That's what I did before I left, and it was very nice when I came home because my room was straight and all of my cables and everything are tied off and they're beautiful. I got a
cable
comment
management's
on
done.
Twitter. I took a picture of my TV, like a screenshot, and somebody was like, "Look at that cable management." I was like, "Yes."
Yes, it's a thing. That's why I like my microphone boom here. This
Yeah.
is a big reason I got it because there's a cap on the top of here. My cable goes into it, and it's like I just don't even see it.
Nice.
The only thing though is I've got my standing desk, so I actually have to have a little bit more slack that I would like because it changes.
I have the standing desk, and I realized that after I wired everything off, that I can no longer stand it.
Yes, yeah. Like
Well,
I can't remember if I went
that's
from
done.
standing to sitting or the reverse, but I moved it, and then my work laptop, which sits off to the side here, basically just like collapsed over. Like it just got pulled over by the cords and everything.
Dano bad bit. I turn that stuff off. So here's the thing. When it comes to achievements or trophies and all that, like I have all that turned
yeah.
off. I don't see
Yeah.
notifications for any of that.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Then even the notification that a trophy happened, you
Yeah,
turned off.
I don't see it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why.
Look at you.
That's
You're like,
nice.
I don't like that. I say what
No,
you
I
want to
don't
say,
like it.
Sean. Why?
I don't know that I want to say anything more than that. It's just kind of it's nice. Like
I don't.
especially I notice when I'm firing up a new game and I don't get that gimme kind of trophy or achievement within the first like 10 or 15
yeah.
minutes. Like you completed a tutorial, you beat the first mission or whatever, you started the game, something. Like I notice when that's not there, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna make me work for it this time. It's kind of this weird kind of internal conversation that I have with myself. So if
Just kinda out of sight,
it's
out
just
of mind
Nintendo.
type of thing.
It's kind of like your the Nintendo experience.
I have some basic notifications that are on. I was really happy, like with Xbox. I don't know if PlayStation, Babbitt, you can tell us, but you can move them around the screen to like where they pop. I always hated them popping right in the middle, the center of the screen. Like it's like that's
Same.
awful. So I moved them to
Yep.
the top right corner, and then
Yep.
I turned most of it off. Like I have most of my notifications off. That's why, like I'll miss your invites and stuff unless like I'm on the chat with you. And I'm
Fair.
like, oh, Donnie, I sent you an invite. And I'm like, oh, let's go look. Because I don't have
See,
the
and I
little
send it to like
thing.
to friends, to favorites. I think is how I have it because I don't want to see when everybody comes online.
Right. Yeah.
But like I will see like when I've got somebody marked as a favorite. Oh, they're online. Like
I think I was playing something one day where some BS thing popped. I was like, why is this even here? You know, and I just turned it all off.
I do feel like I kind of have brought it down to a level that's manageable, but you are kind of reminding me that, like, because I've done it on my phone. Like, I have almost no notifications on my phone, and it is awesome. Like, I do have that level of appreciation for what you're after here. So maybe there's just something I should reconsider on the console front.
I do it.
I don't want to be bombarded with everything.
Yeah.
Like, I find out if I have a notification on Twitter, I find out when I open it.
Yeah.
You know, which maybe that causes me to open it more often than I should be. So I'm not sure if it's exactly like solved my issue, especially with my phone. Like I just
too
have that
deep.
like terrible. Yeah, it's rooted in there, man.
That's
like
too
it's just
deep.
like what
It's like just
what
Inception.
what am I holding this thing for? You know?
I have it like they tick on the icon, and I have it the same way. Like I'll see it when I open it,
yeah.
but I don't,
Yeah.
open it the whole time. But often when I'm at my computer and working, it's just like on one of my screens. So it's just kind of there.
Discord I've really managed because I can't turn it off. I definitely like there's certain things I just need to know. Like if somebody's trying to get a hold of me, I probably should be aware.
I've been off for
of
3
that.
days. Like since I started working, I was set to not disturb. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's been going on.
So you don't even get it. So I was wondering about that because I saw that and I messaged you anyway. So I wasn't sure if like do not disturb is like a request or if it's like a
I
setting.
don't
that
get
you
it.
just-
I opened the app and just saw it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to be like upsetting you by sending you a message during your
No.
do not. It would be like you when you're at a hotel and you put on the do not disturb thing and they come in anyways. Like,
Room
are you
service?
sure you don't want me to clean?
Go
Housekeeping?
away.
I said do not disturb. Like I didn't know if I was going to get that
Do
reaction.
you people read? Did you read the sign? It's your sign.
You gave me the sign. I didn't bring it on my own. You gave me the
That's
sign.
some Seinfeld shit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they didn't get around to that episode. Anybody can just take a reservation.
I love that episode.
I've had that situation
It's a
happen.
reservation. This is how it works. It's like I don't think you do. See,
Anybody can take a reservation.
if it worked the way that it was supposed to work, is that you would hold the car.
I had a reservation and they didn't have my car for me. Like I'm like, this is unreal. This is an actual Seinfeld situation. I can't believe it. Which kind of made it a little bit better, I guess, because it's a very frustrating situation. That's why they made an episode about it. But it's just like, oh, this is a real life Seinfeld thing. So I was kind of giggling, but also very frustrated all
That's
at the
hilarious.
same time. Yeah. Dan even says reminds me of an old Seinfeld episode. Definitely, yeah, it's there, man. Well, I could have I could go over to my parents' house. They could make me some food, or I could just get some stuff done around here, man.
I'm gonna go
I
set
gotta
off
go to
some
gotta go to the post
firecrackers.
office. Dude, it
gonna
is so
drink some
dry
rum,
around here.
And I'm gonna
Oh,
go
it's so
set
dry.
off some
We're setting-
fireworks.
Look at Bland is in the chat. Garrett Bland's in the chat.
Whoa.
He's gonna advise against it, dude. You see
About
this
what?
nice little spike because July 4th happens and then fireworks go off and all the forest fires.
I don't see him in the
happens.
chat.
He was there a little while ago.
Okay.
He says hello. He says bland explosion.
Okay. I don't
Yeah,
see it.
apparently man-made like forest fires are a thing after
well.
4th of July.
America.
Or shouldn't have been standing there.
Oh well.
Should have thought of that. Should have thought about that before you grew there. Stupid. So bad.
I did the same thing to my car. He had like this whole day in Discord where he was talking about global warming and the ice caps melting and everything. I like posted a GIF of me revving my engine. Oh well.
Yeah, and after the week that we just had, like, and we talked about this, like it's hot where you are no matter what.
We
But-
are great because we had that tropical storm came through. So we're actually sitting in a low. We had a cold front come through. That's actually what made the road race so easy is because our temperatures were like 74.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
It's
today.
July
It's
4th. Our
awesome.
temperatures are normally like 101. Like
Yeah,
we
it's
were
too much.
We were cruising. Like we were like, there's nothing going on out here.
It was actually like it was actually scary for us. Like I just like don't know if we should go outside. Like
I'm
it was
scared
that
for a
hot.
lot of folks. Yeah, like the temperatures
Yeah.
across the globe are like just way too hot.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot of people
I
that are
don't like it.
experiencing like extreme heat and they're not ready for it. You know, like those people that don't have air conditioning. Like I feel for them.
But even like so, like, do you just not go outside? Is that because that's kind of like what it
Get
is for us in
used
the
to it.
wintertime?
I mean, people have
Yeah.
always lived in hot climates. Like you can acclimate
Yeah.
and you can do things. I mean, you don't go out and just sit in the sunshine, right? You stay in
Right.
the shade. You get a fan.
Yeah.
You know, like there are ways to do things.
you just figure out ways to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, I guess the
Your
same
skin
thing with
gets
us.
used to it. You hydrate more. You know, like
You-
that's the
yeah.
thing. Like 101. Like there's people that are freaking out. It's like 101, 102, 105. But like if you're in Arizona, Southern California, like that's normal. Nevada,
what I've
like
been
that, you
thinking.
just do. That's just life.
Yeah.
You know, like so Arkansas, Louisiana, dude. Louisiana gets like 100, and it's 100 degrees humidity. It's like you can like drink the air. It's so heavy and on your face. You know.
Well, and for me, like as an adult, I feel like that would be fine. But I'm more about my kids.
Sure.
Like I think about them and like because they also it could be like this is a terrible analogy, but it's like the frog in boiling water. Like they don't even realize like what's happening to them.
Yeah.
You know, like I would know at a certain point, like not feeling so great. I
Yeah,
probably
you get
should
one
get out of
really
here.
good sunburn or one dehydration, like puke, and you'll learn. Like you learn.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I guess so.
You learn.
That's just it. And that's coming from you as a parent of older kids.
Kids
Like,
used
they'll
to
figure it
live outside, right? Like that's a part of it. It's kids just
That's
don't.
what I
like,
keep thinking about.
People aren't used to it, as much anymore.
Yeah. It's Tony says same like when we have winter blizzards and we're like, hey, who wants to go for ice cream? Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
not
you're
new.
right. Same idea.
We've been doing this for hundreds of years. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not thousands if you count like actual other climates across the globe. Like it's not new.
Yeah.
It's just new to new areas.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, a little scary, but we made it through. It's gonna be a little bit cooler now.
I hope
so we're
everybody gets
going back
those
to normal.
electric engines. Everybody else. Not me.
Gets the electric engines,
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody get the smart cars.
like a Tesla.
Yeah, get the little plug it in. It's
Yeah.
a cute car.
I'm literally driving for no reason to record a podcast. Like I've got the most.
You're
like,
just,
what-
you're
who
just
am I?
driving around. I had somebody
I
tell
will
me
be
they're
going
like
back. I think I'll be going back.
somebody told me they're like in 20 years you're gonna be paying $8 a gallon to fill up your old gas hog. And I'm like, okay. And they're like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, it's totally worth it for me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd actually really like to have a Tesla. Like I think that'd be great. The thing that always kind of confused me, like right from day one when like the Prius and everything came out, and everybody's like, yeah, it's a cleaner car, and it's like, but where does that power come from?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? like it's a battery, sure,
You
but
still gotta
and
like,
I don't know. I'm
yeah, you
sure
still gotta
there's
worry about the ramifications of the battery consumption and everything for the environment as well.
that, and the battery doesn't really go away. But then what I'm really getting at is, okay, so you plug it in, but what is generating that electricity? Because it sure as hell isn't solar or wind or anything. It's whatever. It's something. Some fossil fuel somewhere is burning to electrify that car. Do you know what I'm saying?
Could be nuclear.
Could be. Like,
I
there's
mean, it could be nuclear. It could be like there's people get power from a lot of different places. Could be a
Sure.
reservoir, something like that.
yeah. Well, nuclear could be. Yeah. I mean, I think that's rare, but I think for the most part, yeah.
We've got 5 in Georgia.
You have 5
Yeah.
nuclear power plants. Good for you guys. Look at that. Yeah, Japan probably freaked out a lot of people out.
I'm sure.
There's there's been a couple of those.
Yeah,
Isn't
you
worth
can't
it.
throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's
Well,
highly more.
Now you got to throw
it's-
out. Now you got to throw out the water in Gulf of Mexico.
It's true.
It is on fire. It is on fire. Anyway, yeah, just get some plutonium or garbage.
Plutonium. I mean, you've seen.
I like where they went.
You saw Homer Simpson, right? You just pick it up. Just put it back.
off the back of your shirt. Flick it away. Should I go to my parents or should I actually make myself some dinner? They're having a barbecue.
Yeah, I would definitely stay home. But that's me.
Yeah, I think I'm tempted to just stay home.
I stay home.
Barbecue sounds nice too.
My family have a whole reunion. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna stay here.
Jay says stay home. Yeah. It is weird. Like it's very, very rare to have this empty house.
I was showing my wife so many pictures of Jace because we were watching that Bo Burnham special, and I just could not see Jace's face on the screen. I was like, it's just Jace. Like he's moonlighting as Bo Burnham at this point.
I gotta watch that. I don't know if I need to be a little bit more removed from this situation.
It's not my favorite thing he's done. It was okay.
No, I don't even know. I've never even heard of him. And
super funny. Yeah. His white Instagram song was hilarious, but like the whole little bit, like it's very good for what it is. This guy producing his own stuff at home, like I appreciate it. But his other shows that were more scripted, I thought were way more funny.
Yeah,
which is what I turned. That's why I watch it. I watched, for it to be funny.
It hits home. Pardon the pun. It probably hits home for people, which is I think why the appreciation for it. And he was on it, like he kind of. The timing of it. A lot of people said have some Sean time. I had some Sean time yesterday, Donnie. I had a massage yesterday.
Whoa, that is for a long sweet time. Deal.
2
hours. About sweet hangs, man.
Oh,
Speaking of sweet hangs, my boss brought up the fact that I had a hot tub today at work.
Really?
He had to tell everybody. Yep, because for a lot of us, this is the first time we've worked together, seen each other in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of like hugs and stuff. Like we haven't seen each other in a very long time.
Nice.
My boss was making fun of me because he was talking about the same thing we talk about, is how I have a professional mic and a webcam and all this junk. And he was like, he's got a hot tub he just bought, and he's like, and it was a thing. And I was thinking to myself how much like Sean would laugh in this moment.
Yeah, of course it came up.
It was a whole thing.
I want a hot tub, man. Bat in the chat saying 2 hours, like. It was a long time because I figured I had all this time.
That is a long massage. That's expensive. It was
massage. I haven't been able to use my benefits at all. Like I've got money from work, and I haven't been able to because nothing's been open. Like we haven't been able to do anything, and so I've got this money kind of carried over from last year, which is kind of nice. And I had the time, so I'm like, let's flush everything out. Ended up giving me like this terrible headache, and I'm feeling like I think she bruised me in weird places.
Reading Jace's chats, it's just making me laugh, but I'm listening.
I was showing my wife pictures of Jason.
This is like the way he just picked out certain things.
His quotes, so good. Well, because I want to try to be a little bit more active, but I get sore, man. I get some problems going on.
You're old.
Joints are not good. I've always felt like massage kind of just like flushes everything out. But there's a weird thing that have you gone for massages at all?
Yep.
And like
my wife,
she seemed very concerned for me afterwards.
And I make fun of her about it because like the lady that she had come give us a couples massage was just a train wreck.
Chelsea and I did a couples massage a couple times. We didn't like it all that much.
Scary. It was kind of scary, like how like this lady's life was just falling apart, and how much she was willing to talk about it. I was just like, what the hell is happening? It was like stressing me out.
And they talk to you during the massage?
Yeah, my wife was like, we're never paying for her again.
I have a wireless earbud I put in. I was listening to a podcast for 2 hours. It was awesome, which also helps me from falling asleep. Sometimes I've fallen asleep in a massage, just kind of like honk out.
I mean, yeah. What do they care?
Yeah, well, I don't know. But I mean, like I've got all this time. I kind of want to be entertained. I mean, yeah, I just want to listen. I like listening to podcasts. Like that's not anything new. Nice, Tony, with the 69 bits in the chat. Nice. So yeah, did that. I'm feeling pretty sore, but it did give me a bit of a headache yesterday. And but she seemed like I need to take better care of myself afterwards. She's like, "Are you stretching? Like, are you like what are you doing with your life?" And I'm like, I'm trying. I'm working on it.
I feel awful about myself.
It wasn't very good. So I did that, but then kind of came home and had a nap. Like my days are all messed up right now, dude. Woke up I went to sleep last night, I think 4:30 in the morning. Woke up to Chelsea calling me with the kids. What did she say?
Just rub my back.
Just rub my back, okay?
I want to sleep while I'm pampered. Yeah, it's like you're paying to sleep while you're being pampered. Like I'm paying.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some parts I'm like, that's a little like tender. Can you just take it easy there? That actually that hurts a lot. Like some parts are just.
I'm like,
but it needs.
get in there,
You
get
need
the
it.
elbow. Just
Usually that's me.
Yeah,
and
get in there.
I did a good workout last week, like first time in a long time, and like everything just like just inflamed, like sore everywhere, like all these spots and
Need a hot
everything.
tub.
It wasn't good. I need a hot tub.
you pour
You're
some
right.
ice in it and get a cold bath.
I fixed all. We had some serious issues with some of our bathtubs. My wife has a lot of hair, as
Yeah.
you may have seen,
Yeah, it's
tons and tons of thick hair, and we've done the Drano thing down her
living with,
bathtub
with
just
the ladies.
with the ladies. It
Shit tears the plumbing to pieces, man.
well, the Drano does.
No,
Or the hair.
women.
Yeah. 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 Well, I tried Drano because like her tub was just not draining properly. I have a bathroom down here that I tend to get ready in because it's a different time. Anyway, her bathroom is in just completely different shape. Wouldn't drain. Drano wasn't taking care of it. So I'm like, okay, I got to get in here. Like I got a plumbing snake from Amazon. I was ready to get in. I've got this time. Pull it out and
Dude, that
like
smell.
just the smell.
Yeah.
The hair.
That
the
hair
clump,
smell when
was,
it's out of the drain.
dude,
that is like
it was a
just
it was like
putrid.
a ferret. It was a ferret, like had gone down there and just died and kept its shape. But it was very satisfying. Now that it's all cleaned out, I finished it this morning. Everything's done. It looks
Those
perfect
beautiful
now.
creatures with their makeup and they're all done. You're like, look at this, just the beauty
all down here.
of man. Like, look, it's just so gorgeous. And then, yep, and then you're the sucker that cleans the drain. You're like, what is this animal?
I've done a lot of that. I've been doing pretty much every drain in the house. I've been cleaning out this weekend.
Wow.
It's done and everything. And then I'm like, this is the dad moment when you do something, whether you mow the lawn outside or whatever, you finish something, you put your hands on your hips.
Yeah.
Like I'm running the drain.
Yeah.
I turn it off and I just watch the water go down the
Yeah.
drain. I'm like, yeah, man.
I know that
Yeah,
feeling.
look at it.
I know that feeling well.
Unimpeded,
My
flowing.
my wife put our cat litter box in the stand-up shower that we never used.
Okay.
And like cat litter went down the drain for like 8 months, and I never even knew because I didn't know because I don't do the cat litter or anything, right? So one
Yeah.
day I go in and I'm like, why is this cat box in here? And she's like, well, we don't use it. I'm like, you realize all this shit's just going down the drain? She's like,
Oh man.
no. And like I tried to turn it on and it was backed up, so I had to do the same
course.
thing that you did.
Yeah.
And it took hours of me working because it was all wet and hard and it becomes like concrete, and I'm just
Yes.
killing it. And it's after hours I finally got it going, and I was like,
Because what is it meant to do? It's meant to absorb moisture.
Yep.
It expands. It keeps its
the
shape. It's
worst.
probably clumpable.
yep,
Kitty litter. We just got our cat. And my whole thing with cats that I
Congrats.
thought was like the benefit was like they're clean. They're like, they're easier than dogs. Cats are not easier than dogs. I don't know. Whoever is like spreading that around, it's a lie. If you're considering getting a cat, don't believe the
I
bullshit.
love my cat. Kirby's my dude. We were
Dude.
thick as thieves, me and my cat.
Cats are a pain in the ass, man. I've got kitty litter everywhere.
My cat
It is everywhere.
hates my wife, which is the funniest. Like it just
That
brings,
is-
it brings me never-ending joy.
That's really funny, actually, because cats they're spiteful. They do have a lot of that personality.
So he'll just be sitting there loving on me. He'll rub all over me and everything. Walk. He usually sits in my lap when I'm watching TV, or he'll lay right down next to me, and then she'll grab it and he'll just bite her. Like
Yeah,
it
that was
never
gonna be,
gets
like,
old.
Looks at her, gives her a scoff, and then
He
goes back
does.
to you.
I have pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a
Oh, I'm
picture
sure.
of him giving her this glare that I put like in
I'm
black
sure.
and white and froze like a meme.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're not worth it. Not worth it. I mean, we helped this family out. The kids are very happy. They've got their barn cat. He's a very cute cat. But dude, this sucks.
Oh,
Like
I
I
love
didn't know.
cats. I mean, I love every animal. Like it's all, but my cat is special to me.
I like opening the door. The dogs go and they kind of do their business outside. Then they come back in. I can take them for walks.
Sure.
Like I'm. It's reinforcing what I
You
had
can do that
already
with a
known all
cat,
along.
too.
Yeah.
You put the cat out every day. Cats will come back.
No, this cat is not coming out. No, there's no way. There's no way we're not doing that.
Well,
no.
then, yeah. Well, that sucks then. My cat goes out,
Yeah.
but I mean, he uses
Maybe
the
we
litter
might be
box.
catting wrong.
Litter boxes. So
Yeah.
you got to get one of those like self-cleaning auto, like awesome litter boxes.
I just saw this thing. It looks like
Yeah.
space aged. It's like $500 or something.
Yeah.
It's like a big orb.
My
thing.
sister-in-law has one, and she swears that it's the greatest thing ever.
I think I'm there.
I don't
think
care
I'm
because
there.
I don't deal with it. Like that's what the kids do. I'm like, so it's out of sight,
True.
out of mind for me.
My kids are just a couple of years away from that, but that is where that's where I think life will change for me a little bit. Like I want that space like vacuumed
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And I make a choice. I make choices every single day of like not vacuuming it every day or not taking care of it every single day. Like that would be the way to do it. It's just a quick thing. But I don't. Like I basically eat dinner and then I rush down here to do something for the most part. Took this week off of streaming. I wasn't feeling so great.
you?
Got my second shot
Oh,
on
congrats.
Friday. I'm done. I've actually got I've got a reminder on my phone that'll pop up 2 weeks afterwards to say vaccination complete. And I'm going to read it like a StarCraft notification as well. Vaccination complete. Upgrade complete. So life is good, man.
You've achieved your final form.
I think so. And then I'll just have to keep my booster shots for my final form. But that's it, dude. Like that's like life is okay. It feels weird to be like in sort of vacation mode, but work is happening tomorrow. Like, cause like family isn't around. So like my responsibilities are like almost none other than like the cleaning and stuff that I'm doing, but I still have to like get up for work. I've been staying up late, being very irresponsible on that front, but I'm going to have to kind of get it together tonight.
I stopped doing that, Sean, this week, actually. All because of Elaine. I used to always stay up and edit and post and do everything the night of. So my stuff, because I know that so many podcasters listen to podcasts like in the car.
Right.
I wanted to be there for their drive. But after like this whole year, I just like I'm just up most like when I podcast. Like if the podcast ends at 11:30, like I'm up to like 1:30.
That's too much,
you know. And so I was like, I'm just gonna stop and see if people hate it. Let's see if people hate us for it.
Is that what's happened? Like you're just pushing the
they're just going out a little later.
Goes up the next day.
Oh, I wake up the next morning and I sit down and like I'm working, like checking my emails and stuff, and then I like just edit the podcast and post it whenever I can make it available.
That's better, man. So definitely,
it's not like crazy later. It's usually like by noon. But I'm just going to bed after the podcast.
And it just hits the feed when it hits the feed. Yeah, that's too much. I don't like. No.
I felt better about it. It's like we've got the YouTube. Like if you're just really dying to listen to the show on your way to work, like you can just open it in YouTube. Like it's there.
That's true.
But I also want to be cognizant that some people they may only want to listen to our show like Thursday mornings, like on their way in.
Well, then it's Friday mornings instead. Like if you needed a morning,
I hope people are that are that open to change.
I think so. Well, have you always had like all of your podcasts coming out on the same day?
My podcasts, I've always done that.
Yeah. I think We the Gamercast has always been on Mondays. I actually think from the beginning that's actually kind of impressive, because it's always been a Monday. Because back in those days, I had listened to maybe a couple of podcasts and everything else was Thursdays and Fridays. So I'm like, Monday is wide open. And as it turns out, there's a trillion podcasts that come out on every single day of the week. So, but I don't know why I kind of like picked Monday in those days. But yeah, I don't know.
It makes
Unless
sense.
there's like a lineup as well that you have to think about. Like, if you shift everything over a day, then everything's fine.
Yeah, but then like that, but then that would shift Shaq. Like if you're going to do that, that would shift Shaq to Saturday. I don't know how much people are doing podcasts on the weekends.
Yeah, I wonder that too. Well, I mean, this show is now on Sundays.
Yeah,
like
I do podcasts on the weekends, but it's usually when I'm cleaning or doing housework, cutting the grass or something. Yeah,
which is I think perfect for this show. This is just like Flux to Post.
I've got like a splinter.
You got a splinter?
That's what I'm messing with. If you're wondering why I keep looking at my hand, I've got a nasty.
You can't not be dealing with that.
Got a nasty.
You can't
splinter.
just leave it.
Yeah, you can't.
I was like I said before, I was dealing with some plumbing, and I didn't realize like the drain on the tub. It's got when you take it out, it's got like really sharp threads. What actually like drills it into the tub. And I actually cut my hand on it. Like it's like a paper cut that I've got right on my hand. So we're in rough shape here, Donnie. How'd you get a splinter? What wood are you what wood are you rubbing?
Good one, Sean.
That you're getting splinters.
I don't know where this happened, but I got one. I'm gonna dig it out with my knife here. This is beautiful podcasting.
Jay says lewd. So what else? So are you actually setting off fireworks?
Yeah, we got fireworks.
You got a knife? What is that? That is an actual knife, like a
got it
pocket
for the
knife.
Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh, he's just gonna dig it out of there like a Terminator type of situation here, just digging out bullets out of his skin.
All better.
Oh my gosh. Review the tournament.
What tournament?
What is Jay saying? I don't know.
What tournament.
Review the turn. I don't know.
Is that like a movie?
A knife.
Like the tournament?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It ended. Sorry, Jace. I feel better that you don't know what he's talking about.
He's talking about golf. Mario Golf.
Oh, we already talked about Mario Golf.
Yeah, no, the golf. Mario Golf 3DS. The tournament ended today. I don't know who
Oh,
won.
oh,
I haven't
oh,
looked at
okay,
it.
okay, yes, yes, yes,
Jace,
yes.
we're doing the golf tournament once a month. We don't want to burn people out. We want to see if we can keep people playing this time. And so instead of doing one every week, we're doing one once a month.
Like a Maximus Cup.
Yeah, and it'll be open. I'll probably open it for like 10 or 12, maybe 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So it'll be open for a while, so you can keep playing. But we're gonna do it once a month, and I'll tag everybody once I open the other one up.
Jace is gonna make his own. I'll do it. I'll play that one.
Well, I'm gonna do it once a month because we did them weekly before, and a lot of people stopped playing really fast. So
yeah.
I think if we do it once a month, we'll have more participation.
The Jace's Imaginary Podcast Cup.
That's definitely too long of a title for Mario Golf 3DS.
It should be longer. It's
like the PS5.
Yeah, larger, longer. Uncut.
That's the running joke with all of our PlayStation fans, that now they're all so spiteful in their fandom that they're like, I want to make it bigger.
Damn. It's harsh.
I love it. I think it's great. It's funny.
Let's just all calm down. I've still got my 3DS. And I thought I was going to get more into it, to be honest with you. I thought I was going to be playing it a little bit more. But I did my round of golf, and then I kind of got distracted with everything else. I got to try. I know you didn't like Monster Hunter Stories 2. You didn't like the demo as much. Were you saying that it wasn't running as good, or just the game itself?
It did not run. I would not call it running well. It chugged a bit.
But it was a performance issue that you're talking about, not
it chugged a bit. The cutscenes were like running slower. It was a little framey, a little chuggy. It was okay.
So wait on a review.
I don't think it was too bad. For folks that want to play that game, I don't think they'll care. But if you're somebody that notices that sort of thing, you're going to notice.
I tend to notice that.
Like
sort
Calamity.
Of thing. Yeah.
Calamity's pretty rough.
Yeah.
If you love Zelda, you're like, what are you caring about? But if you notice those things, like Calamity is one of the worst performing games to have the Zelda name attached to it ever.
Yikes.
It's real hard. Like, it's just like, guys, what are you doing, man?
Maybe it's a Wi-Fi issue. Remember when that they solved some of the frame issues in Breath of the Wild because it was some sort of like Wi-Fi connection?
No, they did that. They had like a boost mode that they put into the Switch shortly after it released, and it improved it added like some frames to boost it a little bit.
That's crazy.
Deku Tree still runs like trash. Like it just still runs like trash.
Oh, speaking of, I think I'm back into Pokemon Go. I think I've mentioned this to you before.
Tell me that.
I want people to reach out to me and be friends. I'm trading gifts and stuff. That's been super fun. I just got a gift actually as I check here now from Brent Robinson.
You gotta get
which is
the
very
Pokeball,
nice. I've been
dude.
trading gifts with Jace.
Gotta get the Pokeball.
I don't get the ball. Like,
why?
let me just take one step at a time here. I'm evolving my Pokemon, which is very exciting.
So here's the
for
thing:
me.
you sync the ball to your phone, right? You either carry it in your hand while you're walking, or you put it in your pocket. But like it vibrates when something's nearby, and you just press the button. You don't have to open your app. You don't have to see it. You don't have to slide or anything.
Does it catch it all the time?
You just
it's
keep
100%?
pressing the button, and it'll let you know. And I think it did. I'm pretty sure it's not 100%, but it's a lot. It catches a lot.
And also, like, maybe I don't want to catch every single. Like, I don't have space.
The thing that I realized when I got the ball was just how faster I went through Pokeball. I was just going through Pokeballs left and right. I was like, this is the Pokeball will get you to buy more stuff.
Yeah. That's the look at this one.
You get the little wristband.
Fletchling. Well, this Fletchling is kind of cute.
I taught my boss how to play Pokemon cards today at work.
I have no idea how to play Pokemon cards.
His son is getting into Pokemon. He loves it, and he knows that me and Jack have Pokemon and we play. So he's been telling me forever, like, I got him to get the battle kit and the instruction book and everything, but my boss just couldn't figure it out. And I kept telling him, I was like, dude, it's super easy. So today, when it was slow, he brought his little battle deck, and we set up, and I walked him through how to play, and I answered all of his questions. He took notes. He's sitting there with his iPad taking notes because he wants to teach his son.
And you're good at teaching people that sort of thing. Like walking them through, like they don't know anything, and you're going to teach them how to do it.
It's not hard to learn. It's pretty easy.
I would expect so. Like just given the
it's pretty easy.
Who it's
I taught
for.
Jack how to play Pokemon cards when he was like 4.
Really? Mm-hmm. I feel like I could throw something like that at Lincoln and just go like, you figure it out, and then
I think it's really good for kids that are young because it does a really good job of like teaching them math. There's a lot of math involved.
Yep. That's kind of why I'm like into, like that's why Chelsea and I were obviously very aligned on this. Like I think I talk about this a lot. Anybody who played like RPGs as a kid, they turned out to be smarter than the rest of us.
I
Like
think
there's a lot of
it's probably
like
some to that.
strategy, there's a lot of reading, a lot of comprehension, a lot of like figuring things out.
I think you problem solving.
Yeah,
You definitely get
yeah,
much better problem
definitely.
solving. I think I've always felt like I have a fast. I always felt like I had a faster rection time to a lot than like a lot of people. I've always
Well,
attributed
ultimately,
that
like
to,
you're understanding systems,
I've
like
always
you're understanding like cause and effect
sure.
and categorization, and like this is a fire thing, and they're better at this than that.
I feel like
Like
folks
they
that
have,
play video games, or at least me, I've always attributed it to me. Like I feel like I'm very snappy, like learner.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that that was like a video game thing, like reaction time, like just understanding, like processing, like just like the speed of doing it. When I was
Yeah.
in school, I'd find so many folks that like, like they took a long time, they had to practice it a lot,
Yep.
and I was always like, I got it, let's go, like let's move.
But
Next.
even like a capacity for how much like knowledge you kind of have to just store, I feel like is a thing especially in RPGs.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to remember like this thing about these characters, or like especially with Pokemon, like the groupings of it is super interesting to me. Jace says on the flip of that, because I like talking to Jace about this as well. Says on the flip of that, I like to go the wrong path first in games.
I always do
that
that
doesn't
too.
always work in
I always
real
do that
life.
too.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Because there's always something,
It's
just go to the left.
We've
first.
been conditioned that way. It's Pavlov's dog.
Don't go right.
Every
go
time, like
left first.
anytime, like they drop you in a level, it's like Mario,
Turn around.
Sonic, turn around. This is the
Yeah,
very first thing.
same.
Like, we've just been conditioned to do that.
It's interesting that seems to be just in this conversation. I'm learning that might be a little bit more common than I think, because I always explain myself when I'm playing a game on stream. I'm like, I like to go
everybody
a
knows
different
that.
way, and it's like everybody kind of
that's
knows
everybody
that.
does that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially in a game like
Most players are
maybe like The Last-
right-handed, so most games predict that you'll go right. So the left path usually has
Is that the
something
way we
special in
lean?
it.
If you're right-handed, you'll go over to the right. There's a whole like
I think I remember like
men
a
and
game.
women's scores.
I think I remember like a game design thing saying that back in the day. Like, I think
Yeah.
I remember like a GameSpot article. It's like, well, like we always hide our stuff on the left because we think the players are tenderly naturally go this way. So like,
really
and it's
funny.
weird because it's like it's like gamers almost then become conditioned to always go left. So they
Right.
start going left a lot, and then and it's always kind of cyclical because you adapt. You
Yeah.
adapt to it.
How far into Scarlet Nexus did you get?
I haven't played it outside of my first night, so I'm on phase 2. I'm not
Okay.
that far because I've been
Gets weird.
preparing for work. I've been doing this event and I'm working in setting up. Because the other thing I did, not to touch on my job, but like I set up all these phones with
Yeah.
like a tracking app that we put on all of our bike teams that are in the field, and we manage them like on a map because the bike
Yeah.
teams don't have a car, so we don't
Yeah.
necessarily know where they are because they're riding their bike.
Makes sense.
So that was another thing. So like this week I had like 50 phones here at my house, and I was
Yeah.
going through and setting up all the apps, setting up all the passwords, testing make sure they work, bagging them, tagging them, so I haven't played much games this week.
There's too many coming out, man. You gotta
Much more games.
much more games. We gotta. I
What's
wonder
coming
what
out
Ryan
that
will
you're
make this-
excited about?
Well, I'm playing right now. It's actually what has come out, but also Monster Hunter I am looking forward to, but I think I'll be waiting on reviews. That is one that I was like, I think I'm going to be picking that game up. But
Skyward
dude, we're
Sword.
into July here. Like
Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword is coming out.
2 weeks.
Like it's happening.
Very
yeah.
excited.
Less than 2 weeks away from,
10
from
days.
Skyward Sword. I think
like
I have to do it. I
Of
think I
course
have to
you
buy
are.
it.
You always, dude. You're gonna. All right, so you're always gonna play anything that I think everybody's playing. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think I told you that when you were like, I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm like, no, I think you're just saying that.
I also, what did I just get? It's
It's not that I'm saying you're like I'm not trying to say like you're like a follower or anything. I think you like to be aware. You like to be on
Oh, yeah.
top of the commentary and the
definitely.
discussion. So anything
for sure.
something's becoming a part of the conversation, like you're gonna get into it. You're gonna get it.
Yeah, well, and there's a whole bunch there. I bought Disguise. No, not Disguise. Danganronpa.
I hope not.
Which is a
Kind of equally as bad.
Ryan played Disguise,
Oh,
but I bought it and I kind of like I kind of threw it in Jace's face, like, see, I bought it. And he's like, we both know there's a difference between buying a game and playing a game.
He's like, your empty threats don't bother me.
Yeah, he's like, true enough. So, yeah, and this is like me thinking like I'll get back to my 3DS and play a game like Ever Oasis
Yeah, you
or
should
something
be.
like that.
See, if you were being super trendy, you'd be all into the Metroid right now. You'd be playing Metroid.
Dude, I actually can't find it. Like, I wanted to get Samus Returns. I
So
looked.
Steven from Shaq this week, he sent me a guide on how to put Zero Mission on my 3DS because what I didn't know is apparently me not having played Zero Mission is a cause for some people. I've had 3 or 4 people DM me. They're like, "This can't stand." You must
I never
play
played it
Zero
either.
Mission.
I haven't
so
played it either.
Maybe I'll play Zero Mission soon.
Yeah.
It's
There's
probably
too
like
many other, like, the
an
time
easy
for
game.
going back in time is, it's not. And Jace is still waiting for me to prove him wrong. Yeah, well,
Keep waiting.
I'll get to. I'm proud of how far into Scarlet Nexus I am right now. Like, I've actually put in some good time. Things are getting very weird. It's WTF Japan
Oh, of
stage
course.
in this
Yeah.
anime story.
I love that
Yeah.
part of it. That's the
Yeah.
the good part of the game. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's I can't remember who was describing it in this way,
Ryan,
but it's much.
I have the Wii U. My Wii U is amazing. It has every game on the Wii U on it. But my Wii
Yeah.
U sits in my son's room now, and I'm not going to go sit in my son's room and play a game.
Our Wii U, I have no excuse because our Wii U is like there. It's plugged in all the time. It's like it's on.
So
the
if I
main
can put it
TV
in the
upstairs.
3DS, then I actually might try it.
Yeah.
Plus, it was like apparently it was an ambassador game. You had to have like a special 3DS to have. So I
Yeah,
should probably
yep.
I should probably put it on my 3DS just to archive it.
I think Lincoln has played it more than I have because he has the 3DS now. Chelsea, we've kind of like transferred everything from Chelsea's 3DS onto the 2DS that he plays on now. So he has all those ambassador games.
Good.
So he's played Metroid. Like I've watched him play those games.
See, I thought those people that got the ambassador program I thought they were suckers. That was like peak Donnie, like Nintendo Sean Capri. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't believe you're buying this trash. Look how expensive it is. Look at this crappy lineup. You should do better. Expect more.
Mm-hmm.
Be better. I remember that, like the early days of 3DS. I was like, what garbage?
Chelsea and I were maybe a little bit on the flip side on that because she bought me my first 3DS because I
Wow.
remember looking at
What a-
that like
what a-
this
what
is
a
how far
gift.
moved. Oh, dude, like
What a
Christmas
gift.
It was
Yeah, merrier.
Mario Kart 7.
Married.
much.
Put a ring on
There's a
it.
couple of those. There's a couple moments where I was just like, I guess I have to marry this chick now. Like this is
Yeah,
just
of course.
Yeah. He threw me a surprise birthday party when I turned 28 because I turned 28 on the 28th of July. And she threw me this party. I'm like, well, I think this is kind of it. I think this is kind of the best thing anybody's ever done for me in my life. I think that might be the sign.
Sure.
Yeah. There was a couple of those moments where okay. Guess that's the next stage of my life.
Oh, they
Buckle up.
completely won me over when they came out with the revision and the games came. Like I loved my 3DS. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
best consoles ever. But that first year, like that launch, I was like,
Yeah.
this sucks.
pretty rough. And it's funny because I don't know. I can't.
Like
I
the
can't
original
place the timing
3DS
of it.
pitch, like the pitch for the original 3DS seems so much worse than like the PSP, which was old
Yeah.
by then. I was like, the PSP is doing this, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Jace's golden birthday was also the 20th. That's nice.
Wow.
And but I wasn't in like I often talk about how like I was really into the Wii and like that kind of revitalized my relationship with Nintendo, but I feel like more so probably the 3DS. It's a much more like personal I think relationship you have with a console, if that's a thing, if that's fair to say. Like especially the Wii you share with everybody else. Like you got your parents coming over, you're playing Wii Sports and everything, you're doing the thing.
I don't
But,
think
like,
it's the
your
console.
handheld-
It's the memories that you attach to having the console. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, my first memory is because I got it on Christmas and we were all at my parents' house playing. And because it's a handheld, I just went up to my room and played Mario Kart 7 on my 3DS while everybody else was downstairs visiting. I'm like, I could do this on the couch with everybody, but
Sure.
I did a little bit of solo mission.
The 3DS was my first console that I really like spent money and time like trying to customize.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big takeaway for me is like ever since then, like I've wanted to do that to everything that I have.
Yeah.
I spent so much money on like skins and designs. I bought custom plates. Then they actually had actual plates. I used to buy custom plates before they made the model with plates. I
Yeah.
would buy Etsy plates. People would just do Etsy. They would draw or paint on them. And I would buy those and I would like hard swap my plates.
It's funny that you say that too, because I feel like because now you can't get that. Like you do the thing very well.
talking
You
about?
always have. Well, it's hard. It's harder to get things. Like it's hard. If I wanted to like, if I wanted to like try and customize my 3DS now, it's
Sure.
way harder to do now than it was, when it was actually available. And you do that really well. This is a bit more of a larger picture type of thing. It's doing something when you're able to do it is so important, and not waiting until another point in time or life and like going like I'll get around to that later. 'Cause at some point, like it becomes either impossible or really difficult to do. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Of just like I want to be able to like if I can do something, I should do it.
Take
now.
action.
Take action. Seize the day.
Seize the day.
Yeah. Don't wait until later. I regret like not having Metroid Samus Returns. Kind of a regret at this point.
Oh,
Like I
it's
can't
so
find
good.
it.
It's so good.
I think I'm gonna have to pick it up just digital. I think that's where I'm gonna.
I said that on Shaq. I'm not sure if you listened, but I remember when Samus Return came out, and I remember vividly playing a lot of it, and I felt like it was just me and Jason. That's
Yeah.
what I remember from that time. Me and Jason
Yeah.
constantly swapping notes. We're sending each other screenshots, but I felt like that was the only person I knew. I think
Mm-hmm.
is the only person I knew that was playing a Metroid game.
Yeah.
And I was like, and we were like, this game is great. Like everybody,
Yeah.
and like I don't know where it was. I don't know why it's come so full circle, but it doesn't matter. I'll
Switch.
take it. I'll
It's the
take
Switch.
it. It is the Switch.
Everybody,
It is the
it's
Switch.
a huge difference. Even though
But
we look at the numbers for
3DS had
3DS,
80 million when Samus Returns came out too.
but I think it's who the number. It's more than, I guess it's more than just the numbers, but like who is it? Like you often talked about how, like when the Switch first came out, and it was journalists who travel all the time. They're like, this is a console for me. Like that changed everything on who was actually going to be playing it. So yeah, I think it kind of combined all these things. People who grew up with Metroid now actually have a console or a Nintendo console
play
that they like and care about.
I think it's a big
But
part of it's
3DS
like
was
new.
different.
I think a lot of people would say like it's new because I saw when Dread was announced, I saw a lot of people are like, well, Samus Returns is just a remake. But if you've seen the original Samus Returns and you see the
Yeah.
remake, those are not the same games.
Well, it's like Link's
very
Awakening.
clearly different games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
But again, Link's Awakening was on Switch. Mm-hmm. So, and very cute also. Almost too cute as I turn around and look at my amiibo. It's
adorable.
That's just absolutely adorable.
Remember that little like thing that they had at E3, the little diorama?
Oh my god, I've got so many like
Of the village and
and I
stuff?
have an iPhone. The pictures don't do it justice. There is a Nintendo sale. Garrett Bland's in the chat saying Awakening is $40 off right now. I have all of those games, I think. I think it's actually a GameStop sale.
Well, Awakening's my favorite. So you don't have to.
Is it really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You didn't know that? It's
I don't think I
actually
realized that was your
it's
favorite.
Awakening, and it's not.
I mean, it makes sense.
Not
You've got
really
the-
anything else is close. Well,
Mm-hmm.
no, Corrin's from Fates.
No, I mean I'm literally looking at the little canvas. You got Breath of the Wild and you got a Link's Awakening canvas behind you.
Oh yeah. Oh, hang on. My bad. Hang on. You said Awakening. You were talking about Link's Awakening.
Oh, you're saying Fire Emblem.
I'm
Corrin.
thinking about Fire
Gotcha.
Emblem Awakening. Like,
Gotcha,
when
gotcha,
he
gotcha.
said
Well,
Awakening,
that's what I
because
was
I'm thinking
surprised. I'm like-
3DS, he's thinking Awakening, and I'm like, oh yeah. No, I didn't actually didn't really like Link's Awakening.
Well, that's
just
why I was
think
very
it's a-
surprised. Like, you
it's a
didn't
really
know that
good-
Link's Awakening was. I'm like, I don't think you've ever said that. It's not a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, good point. Okay, I'm caught up here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because when you say
Yeah, I mean-
Awakening, I think Fire Emblem.
That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Most everybody
Gar-
else thinks Link's Awakening.
Garrett Bland. Awakening. Link's Awakening is 40. Thanks for screwing us up, Garrett Bland. Holy crap. That could have been explosive. Like, what if we just had a real fight about that?
No.
That would have been all Garrett's fault. Ends the show because of this. I don't even know. We're both in good moods. So, actual fireworks? Do you have fireworks ready to go?
Yep.
Like
I went
like the Homer
today.
Simpson?
My wife bought some because. All right, so here's the deal. For the last couple years, I've gone. I don't want to say all out. Like I'm not like crazy dad. Like, but
Yeah.
a couple $100 in fireworks. You know.
Jesus.
And I set out my in the street and I'll shoot them up. And one year my canister fell over and we shot a big firework down in the cul-de-sac and it just went everywhere. It's just funny as hell.
I've had a Roman candle shot at my chest, burned through
Oh yeah,
my shirt.
we shoot Roman candles at each other every year.
Yeah, but like it was an accident.
what you
Somebody
do.
thought it was done. Like we were out camping one year.
My
Canada Day.
wife, the first year she found out that I actually shoot Roman candles at people. She's
Yeah,
like,
no, you shouldn't do that.
She's like, what's the matter with you? I was like, everybody does this. Like everybody,
should-
that's what you
This
do
was an
with Roman
accident.
candles.
This wasn't us being dumb. Well, I mean,
it's like
we were being
guns.
dumb
Come on, man. It's like pow. Roman
No, you
candle.
shouldn't. You should do that. You shouldn't do it. Yeah, I don't embrace this at all. Don't encourage people to do it. We did the dumb thing where they fired them off and they thought it was done, so they
Yeah.
threw the Roman candle into the campfire that I was sitting by.
Oh no,
You don't do that. You don't throw fireworks into a campfire.
No.
Whether you think they're done or not.
it doesn't matter
Because it just
Yeah,
shot
like,
right
it
at me.
should never
like
go
right in
in
my
there.
chest. Like it Iron Man me. Like I had a glowing right in between, right there.
Speaking of Iron Man, dude, I saw there's a thing that you can buy for your car, and it's the Iron Man helmet. It's like a switch, and you
I saw that too.
you
It's
put it
so good.
You put it over the ignition, this push
Mm-hmm.
switch. You flip it up, and I'm getting one for the Challenger. Like I saw
Yep.
it. You should see my face. I think it was like an ad or something, and I looked
Yep.
at it, and when I saw it, I looked at my wife. I was just like. She
Yeah.
was like, "You need one, don't you?" I was just like, "Oh my god, I have to have this."
I need to trade in my car to get a push. Actually, I had a car like almost 10 years ago now. My car had a push start, and I haven't had a push start since then. They've all been back to
that's
keys and
mistaken.
everything. My parents, because my wife and family are out in Saskatchewan,
My
they're in
wife.
Regina, right? And my wife, they have the car, and so my parents are very nice. They lent me one of their cars to have,
Wow.
so I'm not stuck here. Very
Dude,
nice.
I had
Yeah.
shit parents.
It was very well. This is the thing though, because they're the ones inviting me over for this barbecue, and I'm like, I mean, they gave me the literal means to get there myself,
Still don't go.
and
No. Mm-mm.
I probably should go.
No. No.
Like it's a guilt. It's like
No,
like they
let it
gave
go.
me something. It's a
Let it
huge
go.
guilt. I know.
Don't do it.
I do got stuff that I need to do. I just have to, like, I got this kitty litter, dude. I did not. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting like cat poop to be like full on poop.
Yeah.
It was just an actual like turd. Like that's
Cat, go to town.
what I
What'd
was
you-
expecting.
Like what did you? It's not a rabbit. Like, what is-
I know. I think that's what I was expecting. I think I was, yeah, I'm like, I'm not, because in this moment, as I'm trying to describe, I'm like, I'm not entirely sure what else it should look like, but you're right. Like,
Look, dude,
Yeah,
Jay
there's-
says he's gonna stream. Now you can't go.
Jace is going to stream. Oh, there's
Wow.
a guilt trip. Holy crap.
Yeah.
What is he going to stream? Maybe I'll,
Jace,
maybe I'll
if you
introduce
stream
your
something
stream to my
that's
parents.
not Danganronpa, I'll host you.
Damn, dude.
But I can't host you if you're gonna play like Jace games. You gotta play like non-Jace games.
I hope Jace has what is it called when you have like an anime character? Have you seen this? This is a thing. You don't have like your selfie cam on.
Oh,
you
like
have,
the VTuber?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
VTuber. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I want one. Final
Final
Fantasy VII
Fantasy?
Chivo chasing.
Never mind. Nope. No, not being hosted. I'm not supporting the game.
Why not?
I like that I've become the person just for no reason hates Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that's fun.
It's
Yeah.
something that I've grown. I love it. I love it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, you know why? I'll tell you why. It's because Devin likes it so much that I can't. Like, and I won't even try it. Like, they gave the game, and I won't even try it for fear that I might think it's good. Can't have it.
Mm.
Can't have it.
You could probably still
Absolutely
play
not.
it, still like it, and still say that
No,
it's
because then it
hot
wouldn't be
trash in the
genuine.
summer.
Until I
Yeah.
play it, I genuinely don't like it.
You have plausible deniability now. Everybody's telling me not to go, and I still feel
Don't
like
go. Stop. Why?
And like literally everybody in the chat. As
Why,
well
why do
says
you
don't go.
keep sitting on that? We've decided. Chat, reply yes or no. Shashan, go.
I already know what they're gonna say.
Why-
Like,
why
they're,
in?
They're probably right.
Yeah. Why do you want to go so bad?
I don't want to go. I
Then
feel
why
like
do you
I
feel
have
so
to
guilty?
go.
Why do you feel like you have to go?
I don't know. I
Why?
Don't know
But
why.
then don't go. Then don't go if you don't know why.
I know this is very simple.
This should be
Start a
very
poll.
easy then if you don't want to do it.
This should be very simple. I'm gonna ship off some Yumi Capri mugs though. I do have to get out of the house at some point.
Ooh.
We got these mugs for some of our patrons. They're gonna get a
Nice.
little Yumi Capri mug. It cost an arm and a leg on shipping on that. Probably should have thought of that ahead of time, but
Yep.
we shipped a T-shirt to Australia.
Dude,
that
those
actually was not
t-shirts
too bad.
broke me. It was
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Jace, your mug is right here. Your mug is in a box. It's ready to go, Jace.
There you go.
He's catch up on us. So that's it. I think that's all I got for you, Donnie.
Okay. That works.
I think that's it.
We can call it.
I
Happy
know last week was like 2.5 hours. That
Well,
would be
yeah.
the norm, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Happy July 4th.
Happy freedom. Enjoy it.
America.
Explode the sky.
Blow it up. Let it go.
Let's see this.
Sean.
The options are yes and yes, Donnie. On this poll.
You're not going. Let everybody know you're not going. With sheer determination, you will not go. You will stay home.
What if I go and I just
Nope.
say like I've got
say
to
it. Say I will not go.
I'm not gonna say it. I don't. I think
Then you're lying to us. You said you don't want to go.
I don't want to
Then
go.
don't go.
Sometimes I do things. My parents have called twice. My mom is messaging me.
Turn your phone off.
Are you feeling better?
Turn it off. No, I'm not feeling better. I need to stay home.
I am feeling a little bit better, but
But
I'm
you're not. You're not feeling better. You need to stay home.
Jace wants my mom's number. Jace, you already have my mom's number. Come on. I'm just getting ahead of it because I know somebody's gonna say something like that.
It would be nice to actually have your mom's number. Like, it'd be funny to like play jokes on you. Just have her call you while she's streaming.
Just let her know all the terrible things. All right. Well, I think that's it, Donnie. I gotta watch Heredity and The Stranger, one or both, by next week. I've got time to do it. Oh, before I might even go to a theater. I might go to a movie by myself. Wow.
You're gonna go see The Purge?
I could see The Purge actually, or The Quiet Place Part 2.
I was gonna see it, and that's definitely the better movie. But The Quiet Place 2 comes out on streaming like next week, so I'll see it then.
There's a Conjuring movie.
Yeah,
The Devil Made Me Do It.
you can watch that now. You can watch it on HBO Max.
I don't have HBO Max. That's
You
not
can
a
use
thing
mine.
here. That could be it. Mortal Kombat. Can I get tickets to this? You didn't like this movie.
I liked it.
I've got decisions to make. But I feel like I've
There's a
got
little,
no family here.
like
I could do something.
the whole Scorpion thing wasn't like what I wanted, and like I hate the new character. I think a lot of people are like really like the new character. I thought it was dumb, but the action and the combat and the brutality of it was great.
Well, the chat has determined that I should go. Indeed, I should be going.
What?
Well, you put both answers were yes. Both options were yes. Did you mean to do that? It was yes
I
and
didn't do
yes,
it.
and yes won. Oh, anybody can make that poll?
I don't know.
Is that Garrett Bland?
So like you're
Garrett
looking
Bland
at
says I messed
Twitch.
it up.
I'm not looking at Twitch. I'm
looking at Twitch. Yeah,
okay.
there's a poll on Twitch
I
saying
got
should Sean go, and the yeses have it because both options were yes. I didn't realize that Garrett had that power.
I think it was should Sean not go, and all the answers.
That's too many negatives to handle.
It's just
I don't understand it.
Should Sean not go?
Yeah, but if you say no, then it's a double negative.
But you didn't say no. Everybody said yes, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. Okay. All right.
Bye, folks.
Goodbye, everybody.